Hello, YouTube. I am Brihana Davidson. We are live with the first episode of Cobra Kai Kompanion After Dark and my esteemed guest for the evening, WatchParty, the mysterious YouTube personality.
Is that what I am?
Yes, you see, that's what your little thing says. It says special guest WatchParty, mysterious YouTube personality.
Was that what it says? Hold on, I didn't even read it. Oh, yeah, mysterious YouTube personality.
Right? I mean, you're a TV, right? That says party.
Yes.
You're a.
I made the original icon thing when I first started. But before I even made my video, I spent like a week coming up with the name and that logo, the original logo, the TV.
Ah. Okay. I do have to say.
Or here, I'll tell you a little bit.
Okay.
Just about the TV. If you look at the antennas, it's supposed to be a W. See, most people have never gotten that. There's two antennas like a W. So, like for the watch and the TV says party.
I see that. That is very cool.
There you go. The tidbit behind the scenes.
Nate made some jib-jab videos with your TV as your face.
Who did that?
Nate says so right there in the chat.
Sorry, I was tweeting out the stream here. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't do that, did I? I suck at promotion. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to give out a blanket apology to everyone in the stream. My voice sounds terrible because COVID cough has completely stripped the inside of my throat. And we are after dark here, so I am imbibing some adult beverages to try to fix my throat. Also, if WatchParty seems like he is echoing, it's because he is currently on my phone, which I am holding next to the microphone, because I thought I had the audio problem fixed, but I didn't. So, it wouldn't be a stream with me if it wasn't somehow screwed up. So instead of 9 to 10:30, we go 9:30 to 11. You okay with that, WatchParty?
I guess.
All right, so this episode, the inaugural episode of Cobra Kai Kompanion After Dark, which is going to become an every Saturday thing. It's not going to be on Sunday. Sorry about that, but what I'm going to do, we've got 3 half-hour segments, okay? And WatchParty didn't know this. I didn't tell him the way this is set up.
No, she didn't. She didn't tell me anything.
Nope. The first half hour, I interview our guest, just like I do when I'm with Peter, with the cast members and the crew members. That's why I said that when we were done, they would know more about you than they have ever known. I am going to interview you. The second half hour is going to be screen caps of various scenes from season 4.
Oh, season 4.
Yes. Off mic, we were joking about it being the Cobra Kai Rorschach test. But basically just what I want to get your take on certain scenes. I just kind of skipped through and grabbed some screen caps. They're not necessarily major scenes or pivotal scenes, but, just wanted to get talking about, those scenes and how you took them and how you interpreted them and what they meant. And then...
That sounds fun.
Yeah, right? And then the third half hour... The third half hour from 10:30 to 11, we're going to be talking to the chat, taking questions from the chat. It's going to be a Q&A. They get a chance to interview you for a half an hour. You game?
I guess so.
All right.
If they haven't been. I did about 24, 25 hours of live streaming in the month of December, but I'm always ready for a few more questions, I guess.
All right. Well, here we go. Thank you, first of all, for agreeing to be the guest on the inaugural episode of Cobra Kai Kompanion After Dark. I should have told you that you're allowed to, imbibe adult beverages since we're, after dark.
That's true. I had a cup of tea, but I finished it.
That is not an adult beverage. Not at all. I am drinking a bottle of wine. And I may take off and put the stream on intermission to go have a cigarette or something. But yes, I'm drinking wine too, Sarah. Got a little Barefoot Moscato Double Gold here. Very good. It's my favorite kind of wine. And I don't drink very often. So I should be very interesting here very shortly. All right, so Watch Party. Why don't you start off? Let's see. I'm interviewing you, right? So why don't you...
That's what you said.
Start off by telling us, how did you get drawn into Cobra Kai? Because I know you were not around for season 1.
Well, I was not in Fandom or anything like that. I was definitely a fan, just not in Fandom, so to speak. I'm not normally a super Fandom person. I mean, I've done stuff just to explain. Like, I mean, I liked, like Harry Potter stuff and Star Wars stuff back in the day and stuff. But yeah, I was definitely a big Cobra Kai fan. But yeah, I wasn't the idea of, following anyone on Twitter or, just looking into anything like that. No, I wasn't. So how did I get into Cobra Kai is your question?
Yes. What made you decide to become Watch Party?
So it just had to deal with the channel. Yes, Peter, Peter, yes, that's exactly what it is. So I made the channel with the idea or thinking of just talking about movies and TV shows and stuff and whatever stuff I was interested in, which actually the funny thing is at the time it wasn't a whole lot. Like there was like a few good shows on TV that I liked or watched, but not a whole lot. And, so my first video was on The Orville, which is a show that I was enjoying at the time. That's Seth MacFarlane. And so I made a video on that. And then what happened is, so I was thinking about like making one video a week was sort of like the way I was thinking about it. And so the next week is coming around. And I should also point out at the time, when I made this channel and I'm thinking about movies and TV shows, Cobra Kai was on my mind. So I was thinking, I want to do, I'm definitely going to cover Cobra Kai because I really loved season 1. I had watched it, multiple times at that point. Mm-hmm. This was like in February through February, 2019. I had watched it multiple times. I had actually kept a YouTube Red subscription, partially just so I could watch it again. Like I didn't even cancel it the way most people did. So I was a big Cobra Kai fan. So what happened is, and so doing Cobra Kai was on my mind. And I remember looking it up, like when's the release date or something. And I guess I didn't know exactly. Maybe there wasn't an official date yet. So I didn't really know what to do. But what happened is I made the first video. So I just started. I made one video. It got 10 views on the Orville, not a whole lot. and then so I was planning on making the videos on the weekend. The next week comes around and I'm thinking, so what am I going to make on this one? Well, I guess I'll do in the next episode of the Orville because there was another episode coming up on like Thursday. And then that's when at lunch that day is when the season 2 trailer dropped, the teaser trailer. So it was the first of the 2.
Right.
And so I saw that. And I remember sitting there and I watched that trailer, I guess on my phone during lunch. And I really liked it. And I remember thinking, well, you know what? I don't think this week's episode of The Orville is going to be that good. It's kind of last week was a big episode. This is going to be a small one. I'll do a video on this one. So that's how it started. So I was like, I'll do a video on this trailer because I wanted to talk about Cobra Kai anyway. It was on my mind from the beginning because it was one of the few shows I really liked. So that's what I did. I made a video on that trailer. I made, and then I remember thinking, well, I need to make some sort of thumbnail for this because that's what people click on. So
right.
I found the end snake, the chrome snake, and I wrote on it season 2 trailer breakdown or something, and just put it out. And it's I think I put it out on a Sunday or Monday. It might have been a Monday. I can't remember which day of the week it was, but I just put it out and hung out like my brother, and then like the next day it got a few views, and I actually I got my first comment, right?
Awesome.
From Mark McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
In the very first comment said, great video. Keep making Cobra Kai videos. That was actually the very first comment. I got it the next day after I published that video. So I thought, okay, I guess I will. So that was kind of how it started.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like I got a comment and he said, keep making Cobra Kai videos. And by the way, he's still a loyal watcher.
Right.
He joined he joined the channel. He as a channel member this month. He's still there. And I'm actually going to have him on a live stream probably with him and a few others maybe this week or so. So, but yeah, so that's really how it started. It was by request.
That is fantastic.
Keep making Cobra Kai videos.
Now, I know that I found you fairly early on. I don't think it was the trailer, though. I think it was after season 2.
Okay.
I cannot remember what video it was, but I shared it on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then I started talking to you, just like tweeting at you.
Mm-hmm.
And was like, hey, keep going, great stuff. And then you started making the Sam videos, and I was like, oh my God, what fresh hell hath I wrought on this fandom? But I love it.
That was months later, though.
Yeah.
Like the Sam videos didn't come until October.
Yeah.
Of 2019. So, but because I had a lot of other stuff. People don't know, but like when I sat down and thought about what I wanted to talk about about season 2, like I made this big list, and I thought, well, maybe I'll do a video on Sam or something, but I'll do that at the end because there's all this other stuff I wanted to talk about first. I always thought like there's so much more important stuff, even though that's what everyone remembers. But like everything that came before that in my mind was more important. Even though, but whatever. That's why like those videos came out in October and the beginning of December, but or November of that year.
So what made you like transition? Because I know that you originally were just, talking about content and context and the episodes themselves and things like that. What precipitated your shift into theorizing?
That's a good question. So going back to that very first video, when I started the channel, like my thinking was I like analysis. I prefer to look at what's there and think about it and what themes are there, character analysis, all that, and that's what I wanted to do. And then week 2 of the existence of the channel, this trailer comes out, and I was like, oh, do I really want to? And I actually thought this: do I really want to do like a trailer breakdown and stuff like that? I was like, I don't know. It's not exactly what I wanted to do. But then I thought, like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll do it. And I do enjoy Cobra Kai, so I'll go ahead and do it. Even though when I created the channel like 1 week earlier or 2 weeks earlier, it was sort of what I didn't want to do. But I went ahead and did it, just sort of thinking about it and what's going to happen and everything. So I tended to try and do, after season 2, So I did all of what I would consider my analysis, character analysis, the stuff I wanted to talk about. The analysis. And then eventually I ran out of stuff to talk about. And then I said, well, here, I'll give you some season 3 theories. And that's, so it's always been there. In that time frame, though, is also when we had some of the picks of the script came out. So I enjoyed, doing those detective videos. So, which I always enjoyed. And did that answer your question? How did I transition into theories? See, for me, it was always, in looking at it now, the theories are more popular in some respects. It depends on the analysis, but because people get really excited about what's happening next, and so I enjoy doing it too. So that's a big part of it.
I do know that I knew you and I don't know if we were exactly had developed into friends yet or not, but I do know I knew you when you did the detective work on Ralph's script, because I
think you
remember
were following me on Twitter at that point.
Yes,
because I feel like you followed me over the summer, and that script was like August 28th or so.
Right, it was right before Dragon Con.
It was right at that weekend.
Yep, and I remember DMing you and saying, I like you and I like your content, but I'm not a fan of what you just did.
You never sent me that DM. You might have sent it to someone else, or maybe you thought of sending it.
Oh, I wanted to. No, because you and I had an understanding that I would never. When you would do things like that I would not like it. It was your thing, but
I knew from you that you didn't like it.
Yeah.
I understood, and on some level I even agreed.
Yeah.
If I didn't run the channel, I wouldn't watch the videos I put out, because I like to be spoiler free. I don't think people realize that I actually like to be spoiler free. But
how do you reconcile those two things? Wanting to stay spoiler free with the investigation and the theorizing.
Well, I recognize it's just part of what you're going to do if you're gonna have fun, and I actually do enjoy making the videos. One of my favorite videos for a long time was the first video when I was looking for the title of episode 2. Mm-hmm. And I like it. That was so weird, because I remember thinking, making it and having no idea how it would play, and then watching it and like, this is weirdly exciting. Like, it's just typing words on the screen.
Right.
To me, it was weirdly exciting. It was like, and that guess was wrong anyway, but I fixed it. But
that was Little Miss Perfect, wasn't it?
Yes, that was the one where I really thought it was Little Miss Perfect, and I hit on that, and I was actually at the gym when I thought of that. It's like, wait, what it could be? And I thought, maybe it's Little Miss Perfect. And then I came back and made that video. But yeah.
And it was that was a nature versus nurture is what it ended up being.
Correct. It was nature versus nurture, which I did correct, and I got the right title eventually.
Right, but you did peg Aftermath. And they gave you credit for
Aftermath was
that.
right, yeah. In fact, other people on Instagram had it before me. Like, well, you know what? I actually guessed Aftermath. I remember seeing the picture on just Instagram. I guess, Ralph posted it, and looking at it and trying to think, man, it's got to be like 8 letters, 9 letters. What could it be? Just after that fight, Aftermath. And I remember I was at work and just sort of thought it without actually trying to guess it or investigate it. And thought it, and then, but some other people even on Instagram figured it out, did a little investigative work of their own.
Yeah, I know there were a lot of people, and there is one person that I know that actually did a little more digging than you did, and he angered me tremendously, like every time he did. He's the one that intentionally started the Tori is Allie's mother. Yeah. Or Allie is Tori's mother theory.
Yeah, I know who
you know who that is I'm talking about? Okay. So, as we sit here you have 39,100 subscribers and change.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit decent. When you started your channel and, your first video gets 10 views, did you ever imagine that the show would blow up and take you with it the way it did?
Cobra Kai specifically?
Yes. Well, and your channel. I mean, because your exponential growth has been really something to behold.
I just not knowing YouTube. It's not like I don't watch YouTubers. I do, but like I never pay much attention to what's a big channel, what's a small channel. I thought I could do a good job. Like, I mean, I know my skill set, and I was pretty certain I could make good videos that people would enjoy. So I definitely knew I could make something that could find an audience. Like I said, yeah. I mean, I know my skill set. So like I didn't necessarily know it'd be Cobra Kai or anything like that. Is when I very first started. Like I said, I wasn't even sure specifically what I'd be talking about, but I don't know. Like, did I imagine it would be like this? No, I didn't. I was thinking, gosh, boy, I had this imagination that like I'll make one video a week. I'll make it on the weekend. I'll just try to ad lib it. I didn't script the videos. The very first videos, they weren't scripted. If you go back and look at them, you can tell. But
Right.
So I thought I could ad lib it, edit some stuff together. So I didn't imagine it would be what it is. I knew I was certain I could find an audience. I didn't know how big that audience would be, or even necessarily that it would be with Cobra Kai. What else? But, like I did, like, I mean, and there was little early success. My video on the full Cobra Kai trailer, took off, and it did end up 16,000 views in one day.
Right.
That was a little insane because, just a couple videos ago, I capped at 10 views total.
Right.
So, and it went really big. So definitely there were moments of like, wow, this is crazier and bigger than I expected. But at the same time, like I wasn't like amazed, like, wait, people actually like what I put out. Like I know I can put out good videos. So, I'm confident enough in my abilities. So
that's good. That's good. And that confidence actually comes through in your voice. And, I'm going to say that you are getting much better as you go. You're getting more comfortable with what you're doing, and it's really, really obvious. You're kind of settling into your own.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see your channel going in the future? I know you kind of played with Squid Game a little bit, and, maybe you were a little disappointed in the way that one ended up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those videos might have been too long, actually, because I think long run times discourage people to click on it. But yeah, I definitely going in, I didn't want to get boxed in, even though at the same time I was okay with it. Like I didn't want to get boxed in on one channel. Like if I knew I was going to talk about Cobra Kai, I might have called it Everything Cobra Kai or Talking Cobra Kai or something like that. Actually, an influence on me was the YouTube channel Talking Thrones, where he talks about Cobra Kai. He talks about Game of Thrones, and he had a big channel and a great one at that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I called it WatchParty because I didn't know, and I wasn't intending on getting boxed in, but here I am. So yeah, I definitely don't want to be boxed in on one property or whatever you want to call it, fandom or whatever.
Right.
And there are channels that can successfully navigate multiple ones. there's a really good channel, which was that if there were two influences on me, the other one was Talking Thrones, the other one was Super Carlin Brothers. They're a fun channel. They do a lot of Harry Potter stuff, but they also cover Marvel and DC. They cover Star Wars. They have a lot of Disney and Pixar videos, a lot of just fun, great ones. So, and so they can bounce, from genre to genre, or whatever word I'm looking for, topic to topic, and more or less navigate that somewhat successfully. So I wanted to sort of be like them. I'm not there yet. So now I'm mostly on Cobra Kai. I don't know. I've played with the idea of just having a separate channel for something else, which involves growing from the start.
Right.
But I don't know what to do. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do Stranger Things this summer. Stranger Things is coming out this summer. Maybe I'll try to make a few videos running up to see if I can just get some traction, and not lose subscribers, which always sucks. When you put out a video like that,
right.
Lose subscribers, and someone say, not Cobra Kai, I'm out, and I get those comments, and I just feel like, okay, if you don't want to watch the video, just skip it. It's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but
right.
whatever. They do.
That seems to be common sense. I mean, I'm subscribed and have joined several channels, and if they put up a video that the thumbnail doesn't look interesting to me, I just wait for the next one.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I thought that that was like common sense, but expecting common sense in fandom sometimes can bite you in the ass. And speaking of fandom, you speak like someone who has been in fandom for a while. What are some of the other fandoms that you have considered yourself a part of in the past?
I've never been a big fan of the word fandom, just to be honest with you. And I've always been more of on the tangent of it. Maybe, basically, I would just say, I was there with Harry Potter. I was and am a Harry Potter fan. And I posted occasionally on like the message boards in the forums of like MuggleNet, and there was also the Leaky Cauldron. Was that what the thing was called? Was that what the site was called? Or that's the shit. Sorry.
Okay.
It was a Harry Potter fan fiction site. Essentially, that had boards that even though I didn't really read fan fiction, for some reason I posted there. It was introduced to me by a girl I went out with, but yeah, but I wasn't like a prolific poster. I occasionally posted my theories or whatever. But there was so much posting back and forth. You don't necessarily, unless you're a prolific poster, you aren't probably going to get much traction. So
right.
I enjoyed reading stuff. I was mostly a lurker, occasionally poster. And like I say, more on the tangent of it. And then Star Wars back during like the prequel trilogy and stuff. So
oh my God. Yes, the Force.net.
The Force.net. Yeah, so but what happened with Star Wars is I loved it so much I tended to stay away from it because I didn't want to get spoiled. So usually I would be there for like a month or two after the movie came out. But then once talk moved on to the next movie, I was just like, I'm out. Because I didn't want to spoil myself. My theme was spoiler free till episode 3. So, and I worked very hard. I didn't watch the trailers. See, I used to not watch any trailers for any movie. I used to walk out of the movie theater.
Oh wow!
Because I liked to go into movies completely blind. So, like I said, when I said it early, when if I weren't doing this channel, I wouldn't even watch my own stuff. The theories anyway. I do mean that because I liked I prefer to watch something blind.
Now, I was just thinking, if you were a member of the Force.net, if you hung out there on the Jedi Council forums, there is a damn good chance that you and I have known each other, or knew each other at least 22 years ago.
It may be. Like I said, I didn't post much.
But I did.
But if you
I
posted,
did.
yeah, maybe I saw your posts. I can't say I remember, but and like I said, I tended to only hang around for like 2 months or so after the movie
Right.
came out, month or two.
Yeah, I was one of those, rare magical people that actually liked the Phantom Menace. So, life on the Jedi Council boards got a little uncomfortable for a while there in '99. Um, which, if that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know what will.
Mm.
God damn it. That was 22 years ago. So what is your now that you've mentioned it, what is your aversion to the word fandom? Because that's a word that I cling to very tightly because there's rules, there's regulations, there's organization. I belong to something. What is your aversion to that word?
That's a good question. I mean, if you imagine how Johnny Lawrence would react to fandom, it's probably I just sort of felt the same way. Like even though I kind of would dive into it. So
Oh, Jen pointing out that 1999 was actually 23 years ago
mm,
when I was
long time.
26. Oh my God. Okay,
Mhm.
continue. Your aversion to the word fandom. Yes.
I guess I think I just feel like the way people talked about it, who were in it, the way they would talk about like the fandom or I'm disappointed in the fandom. I don't know. It's just, I have no problem saying I'm a fan. At least this is prior me, not necessarily me now, but like, oh, I'm absolutely, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of that. But like saying like I'm in part of a fandom or it becomes a lifestyle just never seemed to click for me before. But like I also don't do a lot of fandom things. I don't own much Cobra Kai merchandise. My sister gave me an unlicensed hoodie for Christmas. That's about it. I don't go to conventions. I've never been to a convention in my life. Autographs mean nothing to me. If I never meet any of the cast of Cobra Kai, okay, I can live with that. Like some of these things that people associate so much with the fandom really aren't that important to me. So I think that's part of just sort of the way I am.
Okay, so Peter and I, and maybe Amy and Carrie and all the rest of us, we're gonna drag your ass to a convention. One of these.
You have to find me first.
Yeah, we have to know where you live first, and we don't know that, so we can't show up at your door. But
you're gonna go in. You're gonna come in with 5 TVs that you wrote "party" on them. You're just gonna be carrying a TV that says "party" on it.
Look, it's really him. But for me anyway, conventions, yes, meeting the cast is fun. Yes, getting autographs is neat. But for me, it's my girls, or it's the other fans. It's meeting people. It's building bridges, building friendships, not with the cast, but with the other people who are there. And I think once you got a taste of that particular side of, convention life, plus we drink a lot. Carrie brings, every Sunday morning, we have champagne and orange juice out of, grown-up sippy cups and not the fancy glasses, but we, still have our mimosas. That side of
I'm not much of a drinker, so
yeah, but I mean that side, the socialization and the interaction with other fans, which is actually what I intend After Dark to be, because I'm going to talk to fans. I'm not, this is not interviewing the cast or anything. This is fans getting to know fans. And people getting to know you a little bit more on a personal level. So before we move over to the next segment here, to the episode.
The Rorschach test.
Yeah, the Rorschach test. Um, do you see Cobra Kai Fandom as surviving the end of the show? Or do you think that it will just wrap up and be gone once the show is over?
Well, if they have successful spin-offs, it could go for a while. People were asking about spin-offs. Obviously, there's a lot of talk and buzz and hope for good spin-offs. So definitely, I think it can outlast Cobra Kai with more spin-offs. And, hopefully if it ends strong, it can certainly go for a while. I don't know. I haven't thought much of that, beyond. No, I haven't. For the most part, I haven't thought that far ahead. So.
Okay. That's fair, and that's valid. All right, so now we're going to switch a little bit here, and we're going to go to... Now, this is supposed to be responding to me. And it's not. Okay. This is the slideshow, and it's supposed to be running on hotkeys. And I have the hotkeys set. But for some reason... All right, let's go. Oh, excuse me. It's supposed to be R and E, but maybe those are already something too. So let's see, K and L. Let's see if we can get it to advance with these. I've run this slideshows before to where they actually responded. This one doesn't seem to want to do it. For whatever reason, it's only loaded one image. Let me make sure I've got the right file. Sorry, everybody. This is... I thought I had this all set and ready to go. Obviously, it's not working. Okay, so this is the folder, right? This is the folder. Right there. And we're going to do these. There we go. There we go. All right. So, here, of course, is where we start. So, now, for the next half hour, we are going to talk about Season 4. And how you...
Season 4!
Yeah, how you felt, how you reacted. When you saw this scene, what did you feel and what did you think?
I was a little annoyed it got spoiled for me. Someone told me the episode begins with Terry Silver playing the piano. So honestly, that's something that got spoiled. I would have enjoyed to just see this without it being spoiled. But I accept that that's going to happen to me. So that's the first thing that I actually thought. And then I was thinking, by the time I'm seeing Griffith, does he freaking do everything? I meant to ask Zach Robinson too. I want to know if Zach Robinson, if what's playing on the soundtrack is actually Thomas Ian Griffith.
I believe it is. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Louis, just real quick, Louis, we are going to have screen caps from season 6 or episode 6 and beyond. And we're going to be talking about reactions and scenes. We're going to spoil the hell out of you. So I love you. Come back after you've watched the whole thing. But no, you should not be here right now. So, all right. So hopefully Louis can...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, definitely spoiler alert. Now you've got some time before we get past episode 6. But still, I would get out as soon as possible. All right, so next. Whoops. Let's see. You gonna work now? No. Why aren't you working? Dang it. I'm gonna have to do this one image at a time. Like, watch this. Here's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to come in here. And then I'm gonna have to...
One image at a time?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to manually load one image at a time. I can do it, so it's not a big deal. So, here we are. This is the end of episode 1, of course. This is when Hawk, the physics whiz, came up with the idea for
Sparring
the
platform.
sparring platform. How did,
Yes, and you have Hawk cut off in this picture. That's the first thing I'm thinking here.
right, you can see his nose under your icon there.
Yeah, yeah. I do like about the scene.
Yeah. How'd you feel about this?
My reaction was, and I almost tweeted this out, Hawk wins episode 1. I really loved it. It was a great Hawk moment, and everything you love with Hawk. He's one of my favorite characters. You know, it's a great moment of Hawk pulling the dojos together, kind of redeeming himself, you know, in with Miyagi-Do idea, essentially. I mean, you could almost say it's hinting at his transition to Miyagi-Do, and so it's definitely a fun moment. It's a great moment. Another thing I said, and I said previously, just the problem with it is that it kind of takes away from Sam and Miguel's story in episode 1, because their story arc was trying to keep Daniel and Johnny together, and it ended up being Hawk was the one who did it. But other than that, it's just a great moment. I think I can't imagine anyone being like, "Well, that was stupid." No, everything about it was cool.
Yes. I agree. I mean, I love all the kids. I've made no secret of that. I am a mom, and I'm not just a mom to my own children. I have an adopted son and 2 foster sons and a foster daughter. I go around collecting stray children. So to me, I want to mother all of the children. And Eli has been one that I have really fallen in love with. But when he was Hawk, it was a different story. I'm not a big Hawk fan, but I love Eli. So,
yeah, but it's Hawk here in this episode.
Yes, he is still Hawk here, but it's like he's starting to.
The Hawk never dies.
Right.
We'll get to that at the end, but
he's starting to merge back in with Eli, though, because here he is admitting that he's a physics whiz. And correct. You know, he would be like, "Oh, that's nerd shit," you know. Which, yeah, it is, but it's cool nerd shit, so doesn't matter. All right, so why did that not switch? Why did that not switch? I told you to switch. Images, go here. Open. There we go. All right. So, this is moving on to episode 2, our introduction to Kenny. Now, you were talking about the kids on the bus and you know, not really buying that they could all see him and everything, but what was your first impression of Kenny when you saw him?
I definitely liked Kenny. I took to him from the beginning, you know, where he's playing on his computer and then he's like getting dressed while going back to the game. I never actually did that, but like it would be the sort of thing I would have wanted to do when I was his age, right. Like just to play like that. I never did that, but yeah, definitely everything about it. You know, his introduction, everything about it, I loved. You know, so definitely I took to him very quickly.
I did too, and I know that TB3 have said, you know, that Raymond was kind of written to appeal to the fans or speak to the fans or represent the fans on the show, that kind of thing. But to me,
did they ever explicitly say that?
No, they hinted at it.
Yeah, because if you go back to my season 2 review, I kind of bring that up.
Right.
But then I was never really sure, and so I was just kind of like, I left. In fact, I said in my season 2 review, it seemed like my first impression was like he was like a stand-in for the fans, right, or something like that. Like, yeah. But
myself, as someone who never did like Raymond, it's Kenny that I identify with here. Because
you dance like that right there.
I dance around the house.
We should change
not
your
like
picture
that.
I
mean, I'm not gonna say that I don't do the sprinkler sometimes. You know, it my legs won't move like that because my knees won't bend. But I need to get fake knees. So, But I do dance around the house, singing all the time with my headphones on. And the kids are looking at me because they can't hear the music I do. They think I'm insane. And it's not playing video games for me, but it's definitely TV shows. And the cosplaying and the desperate to belong kind of thing that he has going on. I identify with Kenny when I was 14. And I think he is a much better representation of a fan or of the fandom than Raymond.
I would agree. If you made me choose who represents the fans more, I would pick Kenny.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, not to go back on Raymond, but when I mentioned it in my season 2 review, when I thought he was a stand-in for the fans, I didn't like it. So I was like, ooh, I don't like that.
Right, because he's supposed to be a stand-in for the fans, but he's a pathetic loser.
Yeah, that's why I felt like, is he standing the fans, and are they making fun of their own fans? So that part of the reason is why I moved away from that. I ultimately decided, no, I don't think they are. I think they just think Paul Walter Hauser is funny.
Which is true.
But, yeah.
And actually, he's actually phenomenally talented. Mm-hmm. He's not just funny. He is phenomenally talented. But yeah, I think Kenny is a much better representation of the fans that they have. Mm-hmm. All right, so moving on. Next picture. What do you think about this particular scene between these two?
Well, I could certainly hear you screaming when I watched that.
I love you.
No, I'm really leaning towards episode 2 being my favorite episode of the season. I'll figure it out more on some more rewatches, but everything about this I loved, and episode 2 may be my favorite of the season. This was the most fun and pure joy I had watching Cobra Kai since I had watched season 1. It's something I've been saying on my streams, and I'll say more, is certainly like the first 5 episodes and maybe peaking here. It was the best experience I've had watching this show since season 1, where you're just loving every moment of it, and it's just totally pulling you in. So I can't use enough superlative words to describe. Just I really enjoyed it, everything about it.
I agree, and I know I cite my husband sometimes. I'm going to do it right now. He has said that season 2 and season 3 were okay, but season 1 was perfect television. And he thought they would never even come close to touching that again. Mm-hmm. But then he started watching season 4, and he got to this episode, and when this one was over. Because I'd already watched it twice by that point, right? And
right, yeah.
And he's watching it in the kitchen again, so I'm listening to it. And he comes in and he says, okay, they did get back to season 1. They are it's that same level, but I'm going to say right now that I am not going to like any episode this season as much as I like this one. And I have to say, I agree with him.
Yeah, or episode 2.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with him. Just because there's so much that is developed in episode 2. So much happens. So here we have Johnny doing Miyagi-Do. And what was your impression, your feeling, your read on Johnny through this particular sequence?
I think he is doing it, and he is ultimately giving it his all. Johnny is a guy who's not going to half-ass things, So ultimately, when Daniel convinced him there is something to Miyagi-Do, there is something from Mr. Miyagi, that was enough to Johnny. Okay, this isn't a joke. And so he'll do it. And when Johnny goes, he goes his all, right? So
right.
I do think he's really doing it and, picking it up and learning it and at least appreciating it for sure.
And the same, I mean, the previous scene with the bottle Yeah, that was cute. It's an Easter egg for the movie. Johnny called him Fruity, which there's so much queer baiting with these two in this episode, but it actually
I
doesn't
thought
really
he
bother
called
me
the
because
beer fruity. He said the
neither
beer
of
is fruity.
them are upset by it. You know, the hockey player keeps calling them boyfriends, and neither of them care.
Yeah.
But as soon as Daniel mentioned Mr. Miyagi saving Johnny's life, that's when he got serious.
Right.
And he dropped the facade and he picked up the paintbrush and he was ready to go. Were you disappointed? Because I will admit right now that I was. When Johnny started doing the wheel technique, were you disappointed that Daniel was not on the other side with him?
No, I didn't think of it, honestly. It just I took it just more as Johnny's training balance on his own. So that's what he's doing. You know, if they were at the lake or something, he would be on the bow of the boat, but they weren't at the lake. So instead he's here on the wheel, just doing balance.
Just doing the blocks and the punches and the basic moves. Yeah, it should be just him. But once he started doing the wheel technique, Daniel is very explicit in season 2 with Robbie and Sam that they have to be exactly opposite each other, and they have to move to find balance with each other.
Well, maybe there's a future season in store where they do it a little bit more. So
where Daniel actually gets out there with him.
Yeah, there's room to grow, so to speak.
Yeah, and there's definitely room to grow. I think that these two are together, kind of come what may. I think that they are just together, and that's how it's going to be. I don't see them splitting again. And I'm trying to load the next image, and it's not loading for some reason. But I pushed the wrong button. That's why. I do really think that whatever they do from this point on, they do together. All right. So, and then we move on to Daniel's training. What did you think of this particular sequence?
It was as enjoyable as the last one. It's training Johnny style. You got to punch the ball out, and the push-ups, and then walking on the goals. It's definitely a Johnny sort of thing. So and I loved it, and Ralph played it well. Ralph was focused hard and getting into it. So I definitely thought it was just as good. I loved both sides of it.
Right, and I'm sure that the entire universe heard me screaming during this sequence. The one thing that gets me is I didn't get a screen cap of it, is that Daniel is climbing the chain with just his arms. He's not using his feet.
His legs, yeah. Feet.
Yeah, and I would think that would be a whole lot easier if he were using his feet, because when you climb the rope in gym class, don't you use your feet to get up it?
Yeah, they teach you that to, help hold your weight up and stuff.
Right. But also when he's doing the push-ups and you see him from above, I have had a thing for Ralph Macchio's shoulders since I was 11. And I was impressed as hell watching him do all those push-ups. Do you think this is CGI, or do you think Ralph is really punching baseballs out of midair?
It didn't occur to me. I just assumed they were real. Might be sped up. I don't know, but it could be CGI. You could look at the credits, I guess. That would be easy.
There's one of the baseballs right there. Mm-hmm. Do you think that looks like it's legitimately flying towards him?
I honestly don't know. I haven't been at the point with the season where I can start pondering those things. It's still only been like 2 days for me. Like, so yeah, like I'm still like just in the whole getting it all down part. So, The thought hasn't even occurred to me at that point. So at this point, so
Okay, that's valid. That's valid. I mean, it's only been 2 days, so
yeah.
all right, here we go. Now, the reveal of Kenny's big brother.
Yes, and this was spoiled in some of the reviews. So I knew it was good. I liked it. I did know this going in.
Yeah,
but
it was nice. I thought it was very nice to see OK again. As soon as Major Payne, nice shout out, guys. As soon as Major Payne was talking about especially what happened with your brother, I'm like, okay, yeah, Sean's his brother. And I love Sean, and I love OK. He's he's so sweet. He's a phenomenal, talented actor.
Yeah, they had nice chemistry. This is a little short scene here, but it actually they played off each other really well. They definitely played really well.
They did. And I mean, the way Dallas played Kenny, he's comfortable being by himself in a juvenile detention center's visiting room.
Yeah.
That's not something that most
14-year-olds
can do.
With his parent. Well, I don't know, but yeah, definitely he was okay because he was with his brother. So.
Right. And the whole reason Sean is in there, we find out he did something to protect Kenny from some douchebag that, Sean was hanging out with. Threatened Kenny. So, he takes care of that issue. Of course, we didn't get OK for more than a scene because he kind of has an entire show of his own right now.
Oh, that's right. What's that show?
Oh God, I just forgot. It's The Walking Dead, and he is Ezekiel.
Oh,
is that his name?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Johnny and Daniel making pizza together. How did you react to? I mean, here's Daniel cooking dinner, talking about how much meat Johnny put on the pizza, and Johnny's like, "There's 5 dead animals on that thing," and his butt.
4 animals.
4 animals, and his butt is on the table. What did you think about the comfort between these two in this scene?
It's a good scene. It's really seeing them all just kind of come together. I think the highlight is Johnny Anthony, though, but just for the comedy of it. But
in that instance, Johnny is the Fandom, right? Because Griffin looks so different.
Oh yeah, and I almost think that was put in there at least partially for that,
right? For us,
when you looked, yeah,
because Griffin's gone from being a pudgy little 11-year-old to being a tall, slim 14-year-old just by virtue of a growth spurt. But Anthony is only 12.
Right. Well, I see they're in 8th grade now, so I do think they kind of bumped him up.
Okay, so we're going to assume that maybe
Kenny.
For some reason, Amanda mentioned the wrong number of years ago that they screwed in the dojo and had a kid.
I don't know. Unless I just always assumed it would be a cheat, but they were just going to cheat it. But either way, I mean, it was good. And this was just this whole dinner scene was really good. Just, you're right. There's a lot of comfort with them, but then he's asking about Carmen. You came in separate cars, so definitely. Right. They're at a level where they're asking that, and he's not saying it to be like putting him down or something. Like it's just genuine, curiosity and making conversation, so to speak. And
a little bit of genuine concern, because I think, because they double dated together, so he knows the chemistry that they had, and he knows the way they felt about each other because he saw it firsthand. Yeah. Did you catch the Easter egg in this scene?
Oh, I might have. Tell me where it is, and let me see if I can remember.
It's Daniel. It's something
Let's see.
Daniel says.
I don't remember. What is it?
Trouble in Paradise?
Trouble. When he asks about that they came.
Yes. He says, Trouble in Paradise? I noticed you came in different cars. Who asked in the original movie if there was trouble in paradise?
When someone asked, it was when Allie was mad, right?
Mm-hmm. Marvin, shut up.
I should probably. Oh, was it Allie's father?
Yes, it was Allie's father at the country club.
It was at the country club.
Yeah,
I was
Trouble
trying
in
to think of
Paradise?
golf and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, wait, it doesn't make sense at golf and stuff. So I was trying to remember. I knew Allie was dad, or when Allie was mad.
Yeah. And it was someone asking her about Johnny. It was her dad. He's Trouble in Paradise. Are you two lovebirds having problems? And she goes, Dad, we're not lovebirds. But yeah, that one, there are so many Easter eggs in this season. There's no way I'm going to be able to catch them all. All right, here we go.
I don't believe you. I believe you can catch them all.
I don't know, man. I'm not a very good Pokemon trainer. All right, so here we are. And we have, let's see, who's up there? We've got Sam, Dimitri, Nate, Abe. Should be Frank and... Who's the other one? Anyway.
Well, those are some new students, right? That's why.
Yeah.
Some new Miyagi-Dos.
Yeah, I don't even know if Frank is there, but...
no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but,
I was thinking that was Frank on the end, but I don't think so. His hair is not quite that long this year. So this is the jumping from roof to roof scene. And this scene in quotation marks, takes place for the majority of the episode. They keep coming back to it because the kids won't jump. What did you think of this entire sequence all the way up to its climax and denouement?
It's definitely going to be a Johnny training, and definitely the characters act exactly the way you think they would. There's not much action because obviously you said it's most of the sequence is them just sitting there being like, we're not drumming, we're not doing anything. And then he kind of has words at him. This spot's good when Dimitri, uses Nate as measurement. So it's fun. And then he has the little back and forth with Sam in, I think it's this scene or the next one. And then, so my kind of, I like that little back and forth Johnny has with Sam. The problem I have with this, with just the moment, is ultimately what gets Sam to jump isn't Johnny or anything. It's her father.
Yep.
Through the text message. I would kind of like it to, I think I might have liked it to be more of just Johnny in some way, like just to give us a climax to the scene. So instead, it's sort of an outside impetus for Sam to go do it. But otherwise, she does, and she's the only one, presumably. But definitely opens something else inside her when she realizes, maybe he's not crazy, or she just doesn't want to always be doing what her father just says. So.
Nate in the chat says, please don't use me as a system measurement. So you think that her attraction is the wrong word, obviously, because that's going to be taken in all different, connotations. But
you're right.
Her connection with Johnny, do you think that it is legitimately that she is connected with Johnny, or is she finally rebelling against Daniel and Amanda?
I would have to say the way it's presented in this episode, and we didn't talk about it at the dinner scene where Daniel's going on about, Sam will take over the dealership. And clearly, she's not exactly down with that, with that thinking, and it's kind of building on her. So I do feel like it's more of a rejection of her parents. This, like, I just want to do what I want to do. And, it drove her to say, screw it, and jump from one building to the next. So
that's a hell of a rebellion against your parents. I will say that right now.
That's so true.
All right. Now, I think you might appreciate this particular screen cap.
Ooh.
This entire sequence, when Terry, still medicated for his PTSD and BPD, shows up at the Cobra Kai dojo.
You son of a bitch. That's what he said when he walks in. It was great. It was great. Like I said, these first episodes, I was enjoying it so much. And definitely this. You know what's kind of crazy is Terry Silver's not in episode 2. Mm-hmm. And I actually forgot he wasn't in episode 2 just because episode 2 was so amazing.
Right.
And so full. Like you don't even realize it's like, there he is. And it's like, oh, it's just so great. Everything about it, the way he comes in and just Thomas Ian Griffith is so amazing.
He is amazing.
So good, yeah.
Marvin, my baby bro there, says as soon as he takes his shoes off, I knew it was on. Sarah talking, it's a great scene. And it is a fantastic scene, but this scene, and actually every scene with Terry before this, as you get later on into the season, and you realize that he has most likely stopped taking his meds, and he is consumed again by his PTSD, by his BPD.
Some people have speculated he was back on the cocaine.
I don't think he's back on cocaine. I mean, at the most, I would say he's self-medicating, possibly with marijuana in California.
The meds were for. I didn't even pay attention.
I
know
think that
they showed him taking some of the pills, but
right, and that would be a fantastic. That would be a fantastic episode for this guy I know named WatchParty, who likes to zoom in on screen caps and stuff. My guess is that you're probably going to find potentially lithium or, some kind of strong psychotropic medication because we know he has PTSD. That's confirmed. That's canon. I am guessing he also has borderline personality disorder as a result of the PTSD and psychotic tendencies, which would explain a hell of a lot of the Karate Kid Part 3 and also his transformation from twig into ponytail.
Right.
So possibly also
some
imposter syndrome in there.
Fully. We didn't see any explanation. We saw the flashback
right
with him at the ponytail, but that was one thing I thought there may be more of, but there wasn't.
Yeah. The Easter egg when Terry kicked the wine bottle. Cobra Disney Jedi, there are actually 2 there. One was intentional, and that is the fact that he was kicking Robert Mark Kamen's wine label, Kamen Estates. And the second is that the painting that he kicked it into is part of the season 4 poster. Specifically, it is the top of Johnny and Daniel's heads from their eyes up, all blurred. So what he's doing is raining blood and hell down on Johnny and Daniel's heads. And that may or may not have been intentional. We would have to talk to the graphic artist to find out if that's what they meant when they made that picture. But it is 100% Johnny and Daniel's hairlines. You can see it. Mm-hmm. And it makes me very happy. So yeah, there's 2 there. And the Robert Mark Kamen, I squealed. Did you notice that the first time through?
Not the first time, no. I looked back the second time. I had trouble on my first watch. That was the special screening. And I was having trouble with my connection, long story. But yeah. But I did on the second time I saw it.
Alrighty, very cool. Okay, next screen cap. Were you at all surprised that Johnny declared his love to Carmen in front of God and Yoya and her best friends?
No, it seems like a Johnny thing to do. You know, he's not a guy to play it slow, so he just went and Johnny did what Johnny does. So I like that. I have a screen cap I made of myself where one of them is saying, "Does he have a brother?" or something like that.
Yes, he's cute. Does he have an older brother?
Right. Yeah.
So do you think that Daniel asking him and saying that he did not know that slow was a speed Johnny could go, do you think Daniel spurred him to do that? Or was it just that his heart was like, I love this woman, I must be with her?
I think a little turn of the screws by Daniel will always influence, Johnny. And so, and all Daniel did is remind Johnny who Johnny is. And Johnny, who Johnny is the person Carmen likes, right?
Right.
So it's like, yeah. So that's, I think Daniel helped with that. And it is just, and then it's just Johnny being Johnny. So.
And Carmen being Carmen. She
right.
is as in love with him as he is with her. And, I think we've got Endgame coming up. We got Endgame in our sights. All right, so we talked about this a little bit last night off mic. This is the misdirect, everyone, where we think Tori is a stripper. Did you fall for the misdirect, or did you realize?
No, not at all. In fact, I was shocked. I was surprised when people were talking about it. Oh, that misdirect was so good, and I was like, what? What are they talking about? When you do detective work, I knew she was now working at this kid's place. I found images of it online where they actually shot it. So I knew it was going to be a party. We had an image of Sam at a kid's party. And we saw in the trailer Tori blowing this kiss in this almost essential aerial outfit. Mm-hmm. So like when I saw this, no, I didn't think for a second Tori was working at a stripper. So much to the point where when other people were talking about it, I got confused as what they were talking about. So I just thought she was working at a kid's place with a weirdo boss, which is what it is, Right. And plus in the sequence. It has Amanda and Sam at the party, and then it cuts to here. So so when you're just seeing it, you're keeping the narrative straight, like they're all at the same place. So when you know what it is anyway. But
Marvin saying he thought she was working at Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. I am not going to claim that I was above it all. I absolutely fell for it. Because as they come down this line of mirrors, this is this is the beginning of A Star Is Born, right? This is the line of the trans women getting their makeup on and the drag queens.
But it does look like a backstage, a green room or something for performers. I get it, but
all of the girls are at the makeup mirrors in their bras. They've all got their hair up for wigs to go over. I absolutely fell for the misdirect. I thought that the reason Tori would not tell Robbie where she worked was because she was a stripper. It terrified the hell out of me because she's only 17.
Right.
So it scared the hell out of me to think that, she was working in a strip club. But, desperate times call for desperate measures. And
you must not watch enough WatchParty because I had a whole live stream talking about this. So
I need to watch more WatchParty videos. That's the theme of this live stream. All right, so
pretty much.
Baby Johnny with his box full of things,
So
including
cute.
a Coors beer can.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Thomas is so cute. He's been,
adorable.
I think, following me. Yeah, he's so cute.
He's the cutest little guy with the blonde hair and the big blue eyes.
Nice little moment. As far as the scene goes, I thought it was a really interesting thing, and I actually felt for Johnny, him remembering what happened when a stepdad entered into his life, and it was a bad thing, and fearing that with Miguel. And I really like this part of the story with Johnny and Miguel, because I can understand Johnny's, hesitations with that. It doesn't carry very long. It's in this episode. I don't know how much it carries through the season specifically, but yeah, it's otherwise it was definitely very kind of heartstring pulling.
Well, I think the theme of fathers and fatherhood and father and child relationships, I think that is one of the core themes of the entire show. Mm-hmm. And now we're starting to see just little bits of, Johnny with his father, and he is playing G.I. Joe, and the good guy always wins, and he has an empty beer can and a box under his bed. What do you make of Laura? Kind of, he remembers her as this beautiful saint that tried to protect him from Sid, and his mother was perfect and wonderful. But in this sequence, she comes in and she basically yells at him and then takes away his possessions and his memories of his father. So do you think that maybe Laura was not quite the winged angel that Johnny believes her to have been?
I think Johnny's impression is still right. I think this is just a moment with Laura where, maybe she kind of likes Sid at this point, and he is rich, and she's thinking, this is exactly what I need. I am so lucky, and she just wants to get Johnny on board with that, and is afraid, if Johnny doesn't like Sid or rejects Sid, she doesn't want it to ruin anything. So,
What did you make of the line, "You have a new daddy now"? Because from what we have seen, Johnny never called Sid daddy or dad. He's always called him Sid.
I just see that as a woman who's probably gone through some, a tough 5 years. He's 5 years, 6?
Yeah, he's like 5 or 6.
Mostly raising this boy without his own. Maybe, it is probably, she is genuinely in love with him and wants it to work, and thinks in order for it to work, she needs to make sure Johnny accepts Sid, or, so that Sid, there's no problems with there. So I think she's just so determined to make sure this works.
Do you really think she was in love with Sid, or do you think she loved his money? So.
I mean, Sid is a horrible guy, but
yes.
But I think, she was looking for someone to help her raise Johnny. And, it seemed when you're in kind of a tough situation and, maybe they're hitting it off and Sid has power and he has a hell of a lot of money and, it's working good. So, that's the problem with love. Sometimes you get things cloud your judgment and you think this is so wonderful. But that's why I don't think this is like how Laura was all the time, or Johnny's memories of her are wrong. I think this is very much a in the moment thing.
She was just angry with him for clinging to the memory of the man who walked out on them, which that to me implies that Johnny's dad was around for the first 5 or 6 years of his life and then took off for whatever reason, which of course inspired Johnny to take off the day Robbie was born, rather than stick around and screw it up.
You broke up a little on me.
Yeah, my son texted me. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just that.
Okay.
Yeah, and here's Jen in the chat saying that she loved his money. Sarah is like, there's some stability. Marvin thinks she loved the money. Sarah calls her a gold digger with good intentions. And well, yeah, Cobra Disney, they do have to.
We can call them gold diggers or something, but they don't think of themselves like that.
No,
generally, I think for the most part, and certainly not Laura. They think this is really something here, and we're going to have a new family. This is going to be our family, and it's going to be great.
Right, so, except for the fact that he was verbally and emotionally and mentally abusive to both of them. And there's an argument to be had there, right? He's drawn to Kreese because Kreese is like the anti-Sid. but both Kreese and Sid abuse him in different ways. So Johnny is just pretty screwed up from the age of 12 on. Like, he had no chance. And then Sarah follows up to say she wanted the best for her kid. And Jen says in season 2, he said he never knew his dad. I don't remember him saying he never knew his dad. I remember him saying his dad took off. Which would imply he had been there. And then, left at some point. And of course, the beer can that baby Johnny has is a Coors. So, yeah, there is some.
Okay. Yeah, that's him just pulling at your heartstrings there.
Right. So if we react to every screen cap I took, this is going to last until about midnight. You game to keep going?
Yeah, we can go a little bit more if you want to maybe skip ahead a little or hit on the big ones.
Okay, I'll hit on the big ones. This is definitely what I would call one of the big ones. This is Daniel reacting to Terry Silver in his backyard. And then I will show the next one that I also hit, which is the same kind of thing. But in this one, Terry and Kreese had stepped a little too close to Daniel, and Johnny stepped right up at his back. What did you think about this confrontation between the four of them? And bear in mind that before this, there were several frames of Daniel talking to Terry and and Johnny trying to figure out exactly what the hell was going on between them. How did you receive this confrontation?
It's a great tense standoff, and I think what's interesting is everyone kind of has their own intentions. Kreese is going to go to Johnny there, and Daniel wants him gone. Daniel's on edge, and Terry is trying to maybe get into Daniel's head a little bit, or. I need to watch this again. Like, I don't have everything from this scene down yet. So.
Well, and Marvin is saying that Johnny was so clueless here. And he was. Mm-hmm. He really was clueless. But look at his posture and look at the way he steps, the way he actually moves toward Daniel. It came off to me as very protective. Like, even though he didn't understand what was going on, he knew that Daniel needed backup, and he was right there. And he's like, the shoulders straight, looking Kreese straight in the eye, like, fuck with him, I dare you.
Right.
This gave me hope for the conversation that I knew was coming between Johnny and Daniel. Now, that hope, of course, was dashed against the rocks of reality a few scenes later, but
the big three rocks,
right, massive rocks of reality. Do you think Daniel is more frightened and that's where the anger's coming from, or do you think he's angry enough that the fear has subsided a bit?
No, I don't think he's fearful. So I think he's angry, surprised, legitimately, why are you on my lawn? You're on my property. Get the hell out.
Right.
So, I don't think it's fear. I think it's what's going on here is just more even concern. He'll get to that emotion eventually, but that he's back, and it's just a more of a like a fight or flight, which is to say afraid, but he's
right.
He's ready for confrontation.
Do you think there is ever ever comes a time when he is actually afraid of Terry, or do you think that he thinks that with his at this point, I'm sure, multiple black belt status, that he and Terry would actually be on equal footing in a fight?
I think he feels like he could take on Terry. He's confident in himself. the look right there, that's a look of confidence. So the one thing I caught about the scene is, Terry does kind of go through and almost apologize for everything about Karate Kid 3.
Yes.
But Daniel isn't even hearing it. Like, Daniel doesn't care.
Well,
and something I kind of wonder is should Terry have thrown in, I was on cocaine at the time, I had a bad drug habit. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it was like the one part of the story he didn't tell him either. So,
do you think, bearing in mind that the last time Terry was standing where he is right now and what he was doing and saying then, Daniel has heard Terry apologize, standing in that almost exact same place before. Do you think that he believed him this time, or he thought that the entire thing was a lie like it was the first time? Do you think he believes Terry or not?
I don't think he was even processing everything. So like I said, if he's sort of in fight or flight mode, he's on edge, he's ready to go. So he's not necessarily processing the words coming. But I do think even later, if thought about it, he had his doubts and isn't going to trust them anyway. So
okay, there we go.
Daniel's been burned enough times, so he's not going to trust them, right, even if they are genuine. Get the hell off my property. So
right. And Marvin says that he definitely didn't believe him. That by what he says to him. And you're right. And you just said the same thing. He doesn't accept the apology, and he doesn't accept the explanation. It's like he doesn't even hear what Terry's saying. He's programmed his brain to just automatically react to Terry, and that reaction is get away. Whether he hears him or not. Now, here is a screen cap of the conversation that a huge swath of the fandom has been begging for years, for 4 years at this point. This is Daniel telling Johnny what Terry Silver and hopefully Mike Barnes did to him when he was 16 years old. Did you buy Johnny's reaction to what Daniel had told him?
Are you telling me the year after their fight, they just let him go straight to the final? That's bullshit.
Right. Do you think that's actually like a valid response to everything Daniel just told him?
Well, I guess we didn't hear the whole conversation. So, I actually did buy part of that because Johnny's rivalry with Daniel, it's like, what the hell? They just let you go to the finals. But I don't know how much of this story did Daniel tell? Like, he's a psycho, he's crazy, but then, Johnny's like, so what? He's like Kreese, like I don't think maybe Johnny even got the full impression, depending on what Daniel told. I haven't rewatched this scene, just in my, I've watched this season twice now, but I haven't focused on this scene. So I don't have a whole lot more to say.
Right. And the chat is agreeing. Cobra Disney says that, such a Johnny thing to say. PJ Bowler says that Daniel's fear will come when Mike returns, when Barnes returns. And we'll get there in a little bit. And then Christy says, did Daniel even tell the whole story? And you had just said the same thing. Did he tell the whole story? Did he tell Johnny about the brainwashing and the physical torture and the bruises and the sprains and the Rudy's broken nose? Did he really tell Johnny what they did to him?
If he has the story, if he gives him the story, maybe after episode 8, when Terry lured Johnny to the dojo, mm-hmm. Johnny may believe it now. If they catch up and let's go over this again, I don't know if that's going to happen going into 5, but
right.
But I think at this point, it didn't quite register with Johnny. The most Johnny would hear is, yeah, so he's kind of like Kreese. I get it. I get Kreese. I know him. I can handle him. So
not understanding that when you're dealing with an unmedicated BPD personality with psychotic tendencies, that, is a completely different story than Kreese and just his PTSD.
Right.
You're talking about someone who straight on assumed a dead man's personality when he got back from Vietnam, because he wanted to be the non-coward, for lack of a better term. I was myself supremely disappointed in Johnny's reaction, but kind of comfort myself with what you and Christy both said, which is the potential that Daniel didn't tell him everything, because Daniel holds so much in. He's never told Amanda about any of this. That's another observation I made. I presumed Amanda is unaware of it in any detail. So right. Yeah, and, it's something that bothers him so tremendously. And we also know from season 2, his perception of reality is completely skewed. He blames himself for what happened in KK3, rather than blaming the Special Forces trained military officers who brainwashed and tortured him for 3 months. Okay, so here we go. We're moving on to this now. And we are to...
Move.
One of the scenes that absolutely broke my heart into pieces.
Oh, no.
What was your impression? I mean, I think we all knew something was going to happen to the Mohawk, because we were not allowed to see Jacob's hair in anything. Towel over his head, shirt over his head, whatever.
Well, yeah, and then he made public appearances without any colored hair, and so and he's just out, and it's like,
he's like, I cut my hair, I shaved my head after the season was over, or something like that. But how did you react to this? What was your gut reaction to this?
It's pretty just sad and horrific, and definitely the low point for Robbie.
Right.
I don't know how else to say that.
This is Robbie's rock bottom, I do believe.
And it's just like they're looking for it, and it's pretty much just evil all the way around. And Hawk is improving. He changed the tone of the hair.
Yep.
Which had leaked out, and I always thought it was kind of interesting because he didn't have the purple hair long, but it just happened to be when he was doing some of that, some press and stuff, and it kind of ended up getting out on accident.
Right. Yeah, he was doing press one time with the Mohawk down, obviously, because it wasn't gelled up, and the tips of his hair were purple. And you could see it on the camera. He tried to keep it down so you didn't see his hair, but his hair was so long on the side that you saw part of it. My initial reaction to this, of course, was just horrified. Absolutely horrified. And Kyler using his own gi belt to hold him down. I mean, it was 5-on-1. Eli didn't have a chance. And here he is, and he's being strangled by his own gi belt, and here's Robbie coming at him with a straight razor. And I was just absolutely horrified. I knew what the outcome was going to be, because it's very obvious that they're not going to kill him, obviously. They're just there to humiliate him, and to do that they cut his hair. And Peter and I had talked, multiple times about the potential of Eli losing the Mohawk, and does he cease to be Hawk at that point? And we were both like, if Cobra Kai takes the mohawk, and if they shave the mohawk off, that will strip Eli of everything he thinks he is, and that's exactly what happened. Like without the mohawk, he just couldn't be Hawk anymore. It's like he didn't even, the Grim Reaper on his chest and the Hawk on his back, and just who he was wasn't enough to keep him Hawk. He had to have the hair first.
Yeah, he had to. It just it gave him control and power, I think, through his physical appearance, and then he lost it. So, he lost who he was.
Right. All right, so let's skip that one. Okay, so we were the ones that we're skipping are that's a fight of some kind, and Tori talking to her aunt, and we're skipping one with Amanda, and we're going right here.
Yes, Tori has a shitty family.
Yes, she does, and I wanted Lynn to comfort her after that scene, very badly. Thought we were robbed of that particular scene, but we were not robbed of this wonderful thing of beauty. How did you react to this scene, to Dimitri trying to reach the Hawk in Eli?
This is, I definitely like these scenes. This is in episode 6 here. Probably some of the better scenes of 6. But yeah, definitely just Dimitri going at him, Dimitri being Dimitri. And, I think we're told, they've been friends for so long, but we never really saw the heart of their friendship.
Right.
Instead we were just sort of told about it. Yeah, we went to computer camp, and
right.
Yeah, we've known each other for this long. But this is the first time really in season 4 where we got to see sort of that heart of what their friendship was for several years. So, so that, really seeing that and getting that connection, I think was really just something we've needed. And it really helped just both of these characters kind of grow. And then, part of it, Dimitri has a specific objective. Miyagi-Do needs a top male fighter.
Right.
But it is their friendship and connection. So I have no complaints about that. My only complaint is I wanted more.
Right.
I think I mentioned that to you yesterday. Just because I feel let down by the show, because I don't think Johnny would just let Hawk go. I don't think Miguel would just let Hawk go. But just by virtue of what's going on, we don't get any scenes of that. So,
right, we don't see the conversation between Eli and Johnny. And I mean, Johnny was pissed. Johnny wanted revenge right that second. And then he found out it was Robbie, and he was like, "Oh shit," So hang on just a second. I wish to God this cough would go away. All right, so loading up the next scene here. I don't have COVID anymore. For those who caught my Facebook stream about that, I did, but I no longer do. I just have the cough still left. All right, here we go. My girl. She is the Queen Cobra. I don't care what they say at the tournament. My girl. How did you react to Aisha opening that door?
I was genuinely surprised, and I'll tell you, when this scene started and Sam's pulling in to this house and it shows the house, I'm thinking, where is she? And I was genuinely confused. I didn't know. And then what I thought at the time is she was going to her mother. So I thought not her grandmother. I thought she was going to see Lucille, up wherever Lucille lives. I thought maybe this is where Lucille lives. So that's what I was thinking. Yeah, definitely surprised. Wasn't expecting it. But a nice moment of bonding between these two, rebonding.
Yeah, I was the same way. I mean, I will admit that the way I watched season 4 was really kind of sketch, because Peter was the only one that got login credentials for it, but we both had to watch it. So I watched it on his iPad over his iPhone on FaceTime.
Oh man.
So I actually missed Sam pulling up to the house and all of the context clues we got. So when Aisha showed up in that door, I was like, oh my God, it's her. I was so happy to see her back. And she looks, Nicole, and I'll say the same thing that I said, on our review. Nicole looks amazing. The last time that we had seen her, she was having, some severe personal problems, and she had lost a ton of weight because of that. And she actually was starting to look sick. And now she looks healthy and happy and just glowing. And that makes me so happy to see.
Right.
And I'm always here for my girl coming back. Always. Because I've said multiple times that, the overweight kid with the glasses on that level, I relate to Aisha more than anyone else on this show.
Yeah.
Because I was the overweight, nerdy girl with glasses in high school. So, with the exception of, skin color, I was Aisha in 1990. Yeah. So I absolutely was just fucking thrilled for her to open that door. All right, so let's see. We're going to skip ahead here to Raymond.
Oh, we're jumping up here.
We're jumping up to Raymond because we've got a lot of really big scenes that ended up in the screen caps that we need to get done in the next 18 minutes or so. So Paul Walter Hauser actually, fuck Paul Walter Hauser. I love him. Made me cry starting right here.
Oh, and Kreese rejects him.
Yes. And he's like, it's a test. I got it. It's a test. But there's like tears in his eyes. And I just, oh my God. So what was your reaction overall to Raymond's return? And then specifically to Kreese being so cruel in rejecting him?
It's interesting because I was just thinking that Stingray was in the back dojo at the end of season 2. And it was like Kreese was letting him in the dojo.
Exactly.
At least then, but now he's not. So it is kind of an interesting twist, but I guess we'll take it. Kreese never really believed in Stingray. But it's funny because there was actually the moment from the Coyote Creek where even Kreese was like, "Good job, Stingray." But I think
right.
Kreese just doesn't want to deal with him and doesn't consider him what he needs. He wants to win the All Valley. I'm certain he looks down on him. Like his neighbor.
Greg, yes, who is, by the way, on Twitter. I can't remember his name right now, but if you keep your eyes open, you will see him. He is on Twitter. He's been interacting with the fandom lately. So do you think that, because at the time, you bring up the end of season 2, and there were 8 people back there in that dojo with Kreese that day. 8 people. And of course, Raymond would not be allowed back in the dojo after his hearing, after his court trial, plea deal, whatever he did, whatever the court proceeding was. He was put on probation. He's not allowed within 500 feet of any child. So that, precludes him from going back to the dojo. Do you think that maybe had Raymond not been put on probation and not banned from the dojo because of that, do you think he would have remained part of the team, or do you think that Kreese would have gotten rid of him by now?
Had he found ways to impress Kreese, maybe, but I think at the time, if Kreese only had a few students, he wasn't going to kick anyone out quite yet. It wasn't until episode 2 when he started kicking kids out. But I think he would have found a test like Clarence that he knew Stingray would fail. So,
well, do you think Raymond would actually fail, or do you think he would pretend he didn't? You know what I mean? Would he fess up to feeling bad for Clarence, or would he stand there and pretend that he didn't just to stay relevant?
Oh, I think like specifically the Clarence test, Stingray may pass. But what I'm saying is, I think Kreese would find a different test specifically for him to fail.
Okay.
So Kreese would just invent something to get him out.
Okay. You think he would have shed his skin no matter what?
Right. Sort of the same way when Kyler came to join. I always feel like Kreese had Kyler fight Mitch, specifically as a way because he thought he wanted to get Mitch out. So that was kind of a way he thought he had Kyler fight the one he wanted Kyler to beat. So
because Mitch wasn't strong enough. Mitch was too weak.
Yeah, right.
All right, so next one. Here we go. What do you think this particular photo represents?
This is a photo. In fact, I got a screen cap of this one myself. I need to post on Instagram. This is for everyone's Instagram account. Everyone take this and post it right now. It's wonderful. It's the family. It's the two families with Johnny and everything.
Right. First of all,
Louis' sister's not in the picture though.
No, she's taking it. Julia is taking the picture.
Yeah.
And I got a horrible screen cap of Amanda's eyes closed. Sorry, Courtney. I apologize.
In fact, Anthony's he's like looking down too.
Yeah, Anthony's laughing because Louis has put his arm around him. Johnny.
So everyone go ahead a frame or two. Go 2 frames ahead and then get the screen cap.
Right. Johnny has put Rosa between him and Carmen. Which is really cute, I think, because he's reaching around Rosa and most likely is holding onto Carmen's arm.
Yeah.
Back there.
Maybe they're holding hands back there.
To me, this is pretty well end game. This is where we're heading. Imagine that pink dress is white and that pink tie is black. And Johnny and Daniel are both in tuxedos and
with his fiance Tori, and then it's all insane. But
no, Smiggy is end game. Oh my God! Don't even argue with me about that. Smiggy is.
No,
is
I said Tori and Robbie, Johnny's son.
Okay. Right. Yeah, and then Johnny has to have another family photo with Tori and Robbie. But I really do believe this is end game minus Robbie, because I think when it comes time for what I hope, anticipate, dream, whatever, fan wank, whatever you want to call it, Miguel and Sam's wedding, I do believe wholeheartedly Robbie will be Miguel's best man, because Robbie is Miguel's brother at this point. They're stepbrothers. In all but legal name. Robbie and Miguel are brothers now.
Yeah.
And I think that I would not be surprised to see the entire season end on a recreation of this photo, but with Robbie standing next to Miguel.
That would be lovely. And who's the maid of honor?
Tori.
There you go.
I really do see the rivalry developing into deep and enduring friendship between Sam and Tori, and then the brotherhood between Miguel and Robbie, right? Because they are brothers, they have to accept each other. And I really do believe that's where we're headed, is the ultimate, reconciliation of these kids and these families. I think this is, they take Johnny and Daniel's rivalry and they turn it into love. And that, just the thought of that makes me so stinking happy.
Yeah. Love conquers all. Miguel said that in season 3.
Yes. All right. Now, here we go.
One thing, hold on. One other thing I want to point out.
Yes.
Well, it went
No,
away,
go ahead.
but I was going to say Anthony and Louis there. I always, even back in season 1 or something, I remember thinking, I bet Louis was like Anthony when he was young. So,
I bet. Yeah.
That was kind of a connection I always thought about those two.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like that in that pose. And with whatever's going on with Anthony right now, Louis is concerned enough to ask Vanessa for her help.
Yeah.
You know, because she's working on her PhD in child psychology. So, he said grad school. So it's either a master's or a PhD. But one way or the other, we know. And the way Julia played that character, I thought was amazing.
Yeah, it was actually a knockout performance.
Yeah,
she enjoyed it. I know she did. You could just tell.
I know that Amanda's, Marissa Tomei Jr. was meant as an insult, but by God, that girl is channeling Marissa Tomei and doing it so freaking well. Just instead of talking cars, she's talking child psychology.
Right.
All right, so here we are now. I will remove the moratorium because I have no choice anymore about speculating on the sex lives of children. No longer have the option of not doing so because it's canon for at least 2 of these couples.
2 couples?
I would say that Yasmin and Dimitri went to find a bedroom.
Oh, right.
Yeah, when they were exploring the rest of the house.
And then,
she was looking for a bedroom. And Tori didn't need a bedroom. They just had the front seat of a car. But
it was a very nice car.
Very nice car. But we do know from the fight at the pool also answers your question of what she has on under that dress. She does have a pair of what are they called? Cheerleaders wear them. Oh, I can't even remember.
But
basically Spanx, but with a different name.
I looked at it. I thought, well, come on, guys. There's going to be no prom fight. Something else is you can't fight in that dress.
Right.
These characters, they know that. She knows she can't fight in that. Sam can't fight in her dress. I mean, that was. By the way, that was like actually my point. You can't fight in that. Get real, people.
Right. And how right were you about
real.
that?
There's going to be something fun at prom.
Right.
It looks like Paul Walter Hauser's in the episode. So there's going to be something silly and fun, but obviously they can't fight. Which was my point. And then I was wrong. So you can always tell WatchParty was wrong.
Right.
He is wrong. He thought there wouldn't be no prom fight because he thought these girls know they can't fight in those dresses.
Right. But
it would be ridiculous.
Especially when they take their shoes off at the bar, these girls can fight in those dresses. Did you actually, because I will say that when the fight started, I cringed. I thought the whole thing was so cringe. I was like, oh God, here we go again. Not again. Do not do this again. And that lasted until I fell in the pool and Tori pulled Robbie in with her. And the fight stopped, right? And that was it. No one else got involved. It was no brawl. It was just the 4 of them. And it stopped once they all fell in the pool. Miguel and Sam went home, pissed off at each other.
Yeah.
What is your overall feeling about Tobby, I guess we'll call them? Robbie and Tori and Robbie as a couple. What do you think about these 2 as a couple?
I think, even going into season 3 and thinking they would probably spend some time together, I've always felt like they worked together better than I would have expected. Maybe it's just a little bit of chemistry between Tanner and Peyton. They just play off each other well.
They really do.
Yeah. And it more or less happened the way I figured it would. It's not like, they're very slowly warming up to each other, and they're very both rough around the edges and not quite ready to let someone else in. they've been hurt. And I think there's just a point there, falling in the pool, it just kind of let off some of those rough edges, and she pulled them in, and it's
right.
kind of, now it's just fun. Now I'm having fun with this person.
Right.
So I do. I like it. It's something I thought was going to happen. And I think it played about as well as it could. So.
Right. How did you judge Tanner and Peyton's chemistry with each other?
It's good. I don't know. I could make comparisons to other couples on the show or whatever, but I definitely think, I think they're really good. They play off each other well. I'm not sure if who's the one who's playing off, if it's Tanner who's good,
right?
Or
Who's playing off who? My impression was that Tanner and Mary, I think, play siblings very well. I liked their relationship when they were more brother and sister-ish. They just where he's like Daniel's surrogate son and she's Daniel's actual daughter. And that's why I never liked Sam and Robbie together. Because in my mind and in my heart, they're siblings. They're brother and sister. He doesn't have that.
I guess I never looked at him like that.
Oh, I thought that their romantic chemistry just did not feel right. It was off. Mary has an instant romantic chemistry with Sholo. And I think that Tori has the same with Tanner. So whether or not these are the couples that we will end up with at the end of the show, I do not think Yasmin and Dimitri are ever going to break up. Yasmin is 120% in love with that boy.
She is insanely about him. Now, yes. I think they didn't have Annalisa for very much because she had another show of her own. So they just used what they had, to get her. But yeah,
right, to get her back for the dance. So she's there I just flew in. Yeah. For you, I even flew economy and it sucked. I couldn't put my seat down. For her, yeah, that is a huge, she flew home from Australia for a dance for one night. That is an enormous amount of love. I
guess she had the same thought as Tori. She was going to get her money's worth.
Right? Dude, I flew home from you. Let's go find a bedroom. I thought
something I want to ask you.
Yeah.
About Sam during the fight, and I asked someone else, and who also didn't really know, but I don't get Sam's line to Robbie. You broke my heart, or I broke your heart. Well, you broke my heart too, or something. I actually paused and rewound that and just watched it again. I'm trying to figure out, what is she talking about? You broke my heart too.
When he kicked Miguel over the balcony.
You do think it's specifically hitting Miguel?
Yeah, I think that was about not necessarily that he broke her heart by hurting her ex-boyfriend, but he broke her heart by turning out to be someone she did not expect him to be. And that was someone who could kick Miguel over the balcony. I think she was 100% honest when she's telling him, I was really pissed off at you, but I still loved you. I thought that she was 100% sincere there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like that line from Sam.
It seems off. It does seem a little off because Robbie didn't actually, break her heart. He didn't cheat on her. He tried to protect her. He was laying to her about the alcohol.
Not to turn it into another Sam video, but and that goes back to when they talked in episode 1,
right?
Because my complaint about it when she went to him in episode 1 is she didn't ask him, "Can you tell me what happened?" Because in season 3 on the news, she's like, "Well, it's an accident. I hope it's an accident." And to me, that she didn't ask him, "Can you tell me what happened?" is something that
right. Tell me it was an accident, Robbie. Tell me you didn't do it on purpose.
Yes, and she didn't even ask him that. And when I saw episode 1, I don't know if I quite said, but I was like, this is why people don't like Sam. Like, it's like she doesn't even want to ask him for his side or what happened. Can you assure to me it was an accident? So that was there, and now we're here. Now she's like, well, you broke my heart. If it was about the kick, then it's just like, well, why didn't you ask him to explain it or something,
Right.
Instead,
and
you're just kind of like throwing it at him.
Right.
Like, oh, I broke your heart. Well, you broke my heart too.
Yeah.
Oof.
I think that, also you got to look back on episode 1, and he broke her heart by joining Cobra Kai. He broke her heart by not coming home with her.
Well, see, yeah, that's all it. He said, "You're not getting what you want." That's why I'm just so unsure. What is she referring to when she says you broke my heart?
I really think that he broke her heart by becoming someone other than the person she believed he was. Because he didn't come home, and he didn't come back. He didn't come back to Miyagi-Do. He didn't come back home. He stayed at the dojo until Shannon got out of rehab.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think that, to Sam in that moment, what broke her heart was watching Robbie become someone she did not believe he was. And, it's very subjective, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But, all right, so moving right along, and here we are. Your reaction not only to this particular reveal, but this particular musical number.
I was mildly amused. I'm not into pop singers. Like, I've heard of her, and it was pretty good in the show. Like, it didn't bother me. I've gotten comments from people who are like, "Oh, I didn't like it. It was cheesy. I wish it wasn't there." Zach Robinson came into my stream, and I asked him, and he was just like, "Yeah, it's how'd you guys get her?" And he said, "Yeah, it's just that sort of Netflix effect,
Right.
The show's gotten bigger and money, so they're able to kind of get stars like that." So that's what Zach said. I enjoyed it. I have no connection. I'm not a Carrie Underwood fan or anything. I mean, I just enjoyed it as much as how they played it with Ron in the board. Like, I just enjoyed, the little story they were all going to vote him out or something.
Right. And then suddenly, oh, you're doing a great job as chairman, Ron. We love you.
Yeah.
I am also not a big country music fan, as people are saying. Jen says in the chat she's not a huge country music fan, but it was good. A Cobra Disney Jedi would prefer "You're the Best." What did you think about the musical choice, having her sing "Moment of Truth," the actual theme song from The Karate Kid?
Oh, that's right. I'm bad with music.
Did you not realize that's what she was singing?
Like no, I did while it's playing, but like it doesn't stick in my memory. I can remember a lot of things, but like music will just sort of wash away. So like I'm sitting here wondering, what song did she sing?
You always said the music questions on trivia were the ones you hated the most.
Yes, they're the hardest for me. As you can see, if you wanted to learn WatchParty, I mean, boy. But it was good, and someone mentioned "You're the Best," and there was many references to that song in dialogue.
Where they keep talking about
the past, repeating itself.
Almost the entire first verse was spoken in dialogue throughout the season, and I'm pretty sure, I'm going to check this to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it was in order.
It probably was. Yeah, go ahead and check that for me.
I will.
That is, but yeah, it's just, it was, I mean, I enjoyed it. I have nothing against it. What is the moment of truth? I don't know if there's any deeper meaning other than just like a fall connection to the original movie. And we had an episode, The Moment of Truth.
Right.
So
my question is this. And it's something that Peter and I talked about in our season 4 reaction a little bit. Here is, in the Karate Kid universe, Carrie Underwood, who exists in our universe as well. She is a real person. She is singing the theme song from the Karate Kid, which exists in our universe, which does not exist in the Cobra Kai Karate Kid universe unless Johnny and Daniel's senior year had an actual theme song. So what do you think? And they did this with, Daniel mentioning Peter Cetera and saying that he's he's a big fan of Cetera specifically.
Yeah.
Is there any fourth wall left here, or has the Cobra Kai universe somehow magically blended into ours? Are there karate gangs running around the valley beating the crap out of each other?
Well, I think that one time John Hurwitz replied to you, you're going to knock this whole house of cards down.
Yes.
They thought, well, let's see how much higher we can build this house of cards up
before she knocks it down.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's it's just fun. I think it's nods and winks and I celebrity think, appearance or whatever, kind of like random. And I think it fit well within the episode.
It did.
It's the montage. I have a few issues with the All Valley, but for what it was good.
What did you think of I assume that the other dojos, because they were all lined up behind Miyagi-Do, I assume that they all got, video packages and stuff like that on the digital scoreboard. What did you think of the video packages that they had put together of the 3 biggest dojos?
For the training and the intro to the episode?
Yes. And do you think those were actually played on the Jumbotron for the audience before they came out?
I don't necessarily know if it was in universe playing or it was just a montage. I felt like it was more like just a montage for the show, training and everything, sort of the catch up, the final training and getting ready and everything. So, but he obviously introduces, he does a bigger introduction for each dojo than he did before. So
right.
That's good. But,
yeah, he gives
I don't know if
big,
in
long...
universe those videos were playing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. Moving on. I have a question. One very specific question for you. Johnny is right there. He has his hand on Miguel's arm. He's right at his side. And Miguel still throws his head back and screams, "Sensei." Who is Miguel screaming for? Johnny or Daniel?
I always took it as Johnny.
Even though Johnny's right there.
I think Miguel is unaware of what's going on. Like, I think he's in pain and he may even have his eyes closed. He can't hear, he's just out of it. But I took it as, yelling for Johnny.
Okay, so far in the chat, we have Marvin saying it's Daniel, Disney Jedi saying it's Johnny. Daniel then says, "Hey, Sarah." Hey, Daniel, welcome to the stream. Jen says Johnny. Nahuel says Johnny. Carrie says Johnny. Jackie says, "Oh, no, don't say Daniel." Queen says Johnny. Fan page says Johnny for sure. Jackie does say Johnny. Casual fan says Crease. I love you, Casual fan. Keep being wrong. PJ Bowler and Rena both say Johnny. Sarah Lawson is talking about Locust Valley. My gut told me he was actually screaming for both of them. That he wanted both of them at his side in that moment. But, of course, Daniel needed to stay with Sam to comfort her because she is standing there potentially watching her boyfriend break his spine again. Until they know exactly what's wrong. Daniel has to stay with Sam. But I think that Miguel was yelling in some sense for both of them. Even though he is traditionally always called just Johnny Sensei. right around episode 4, Daniel stopped being Mr. LaRusso and became Sensei LaRusso.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I thought that to a certain extent that he was screaming for both of them. Next question. Did you think he had snapped his spine again? Did you think he was not fully healed and could not do that kick without hurting himself permanently?
Yes, I did think, it's just like we knew vaguely from reviews or something, there's surprises and stuff. And that was the most emotional moment I was in my whole season watching through. Because I really did think he might have taken himself out again, in a very serious fashion. So, and certainly the way it played and everything.
Right.
So
this was a misdirect that I believe this combined with the opening of the next episode where we see the CAT scans and the EKGs of the brain waves and all of that, which we had seen associated with Miguel before.
Right. See, yeah, and I saw that at the beginning of the opening of the next episode. I'm like, that's not Miguel, because why are they looking at his brain? It didn't make sense.
Right. And I thought the same thing. But then I was like, maybe those are the old X-rays and they're checking his connection between his spinal cord and his brain stem or whatever. But if that's disconnected, he's dead. So, so Daniel here for Cobra Kai Studio.
A misdirect. By the way, it's more than a misdirect. It is a cheat.
It is
because you learn, okay, it's a muscle, he'll be fine, or more or less, he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it happens in the show, there's like a deliberate cracking sound, a sound effect. It's not just a misdirect, it is a straight out cheat. And the problem I have with it is ultimately, while I was really sad, it was the most emotional I had been, certainly in season 4, in this moment when it happened.
Really?
Now I don't have rewatch value because I know it's all a cheat. It's not even like a misdirect. It's more of just a straight up cheat. And generally, I'm not a fan of stuff like that. You thought he was paralyzed, but actually he's okay.
Well, my gut reaction, actually, you mentioned, why would they have the brain scans, the EKGs, the CAT scans of his skull? My first gut reaction, and this is most likely comes from having grown up in the 80s and having a mother who watched Dallas.
Oh, Dallas.
So having been forced to watch Dallas at certain points in my life. Mom, I want to watch TV. Then sit down and watch Dallas with me. I don't like Dallas. I don't care. Sit down and watch Dallas with me. We had one TV. It was black and white. We watched Dallas on it. When they start showing the brain scans, I was like, oh my God, if season 3 and 4 were completely a fucking dream, I am going to fucking lose it.
I never saw that, but I have heard of it. Were like a whole season, it was a dream or something.
Multiple seasons were Pam's dream, because she wakes up one morning and finds her dead husband in the shower. And he'd been dead for like 3 years at that point. Mm-hmm. But he wanted to come back. So that's how they wrote him back in. They took the 3 seasons that had taken place and made them all a dream, and then they started back with Bobby and Pam back where they had been 3 years earlier. And I was absolutely petrified, because these guys play so much with 80s TV tropes that I was like, oh my God, they pulled a Dallas. I was terrified.
I think that would cut a little bit too, like, not enough people are going to pick up on that. It was a Dallas, so
right. It was all a dream, and I think this particular fandom that we are part of, if we had all lost our collective shit on those 3 men on Twitter, I think it would have ended very badly for us, not for them. Um,
Yeah, I didn't make that connection at all. I think
oh,
it's kind of
I
a
did. I was so afraid of that. And that was not, and also I do have to point out real quick before we move on. I have pulled both, I forget the name of the muscle, but they're the trunk muscles. They're the great big ones that run right up along the spinal cord. I have pulled both of those before, and I will tell you, I have never felt pain like that, and I have given birth 4 times. Once with no medication. That was stupid, and I'll never do it again. But they gave me a shot, and then my son was born, and then the drugs took effect. It was very nice. Okay, so moving on. Here we go. Dallas Dupree Young kicking the crap out of Griffin Santapietro's stunt double. Kenny kicking the crap out of Anthony. What did you think about this scene?
Well, I did like the conclusion to Anthony's arc. I mean, one of the most like just complete arcs in the season with a beginning, a middle, and end. I liked it. By the end, maybe you feel like you can almost root for Anthony a little bit there. You're like, and you're hopeful, right? You're like hopeful. Hey, can go, and then we see this Cobra Kaiism taking over Kenny, where he's like, screw it. And some people could say, and have said, well, I kind of side with Kenny here. Anthony was a real prick to him. Maybe he doesn't believe it. I'm not sure I would quite go to this far. You would hope they would still be, they're at a point where maybe he could have tried to trust Anthony, but going so far, and then the real pain begins, and it's like he's Terry Silver influence now on Kenny.
Yeah, he's a whole lot meaner than he was when he was just a cute little nerd boy.
Right.
What about Robbie stepping between them, pulling Kenny away? He's basically stepping in between this, blood battle between his 2 younger brothers. What did you think of Robbie's take and interaction with the 2 of them?
I like that Robbie is looking out after Kenny so much. He's doing it for Sean, and I've always said, and I do believe it, Robbie was ultimately a good kid. And, no matter how deep in Cobra Kai he would get, and he got deep with Hawk, but in the end, it was like a rubber band. He started coming back even after that. So, that was a low point, but then it was up from there. And I think, I like Robbie from that, and I like him trying to look out after Kenny, even if maybe he's failing a little bit in this moment.
Yes. And starting to realize not only is he failing Kenny, but he's also lost his connection with Anthony. And I do believe that he did have a brotherly connection with Anthony in the month or so between the end of the tournament and Anthony leaving for camp. Robbie was living there at the time. And I do believe that he had come to look on Anthony as a younger brother. And because
no, Robbie didn't. He was gone from camp.
Do you think that there was like no time passed then between? Because in that scene, Anthony is in a couple of scenes at the beginning when Robbie is doing all that work with Daniel. There's no way they got that whole thing done in a day.
Yeah, but he wasn't living with them yet. He didn't move in until episode 2.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't move in with them immediately. All right, but I do think he looks on
for what
Anthony.
It's worth, I did always think, he might have hung out at the house a little.
Right.
Anthony knew who Robbie was.
Right.
Because there is
like,
that one line, come join with me and Robbie, or train with me and Robbie. And
yeah.
Yeah.
He did seem, though, I thought that he did seem rather protective over Anthony in some fashion, because he did try to check on him, and then Robbie shoved him, or Anthony shoved him away. as he
Yeah.
ran out. All right, so we're going to run through these next few clips
Wait,
real
one
fast.
more point here, just to finish off, Kenny.
Okay.
Just that many people have made the point. He's knocking Anthony. He should have been knocking that curly-haired kid, Anthony's
Zach.
friend or whoever that was. Like, that was the kid he needed to be knocking.
Yes, freaking Zach attack. That's who he needs to go after.
He was the trouble. Like,
Right.
really, he was the one getting Anthony to do everything. It's like, that's the real bad one, the one who's manipulating everyone else to do the shitty stuff.
Yep.
So they can keep their hands clean.
Yep, exactly like I said to Peter in our episode review. If your teenage son has a frizzy blonde-headed friend, get rid of that kid. Because that frizzy blonde-headed kid is always the one that starts the shit. And I'm speaking from personal experience here. And it was backed up by what we saw on screen. All right, so real quick, we have half-naked Robbie and Eli fighting. This is Jacob Bertrand. So I know how I reacted to seeing him do this. What was your reaction to seeing Jacob actually land and then throw that flip up off the mat?
We've known for a while, they've talked about how Jacob and really Tanner both are just, the most amazing at the stunt. I loved every minute of this fight.
Yes.
I do think I would even say it's a little bit better than the girls' fight.
I agree.
It was intense.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I picked up on all the clues that Hawk was going to win from his epic line. I'm
the one that's going to win this whole fucking thing. And
once
like
they gave him that F-bomb, I'm like, oh shit, he is going to win. Like, I don't know how, but apparently he's winning.
The way I looked at it was I knew that Eli was going to win because if he didn't, Tori and Sam's fight became a moot point.
Right. Yeah. Then there was that point too. And I kept thinking, he's got to win because we need tension for the next fight.
Right.
So but then I had kept thinking Robbie was going to win, but yeah, it was just a great fight. Everything about it. They're both so athletic. I was looking at another earlier something where Tanner did a great move too.
Tanner was doing backflips in his skills competition.
Yeah.
And they were really him because you could see his face as he went backwards.
You could see it's absolutely him. Yeah.
And I do believe that this is Tanner as well. Just because his...
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
In one of the tumbling passes that Robbie does, when he does the final front flip, that is the stuntman, and you can tell because his hair is longer. But this, I do believe, is Tanner because the hair is shorter.
Right.
And that is absolutely 100% Jacob because you can see his face the entire time he's doing it. And I am impressed as hell. So if any of you see Jacob, tell him I'm sure that he's going to be, thrilled to find out that Brihana is impressed as hell. Honestly, the boy probably doesn't even remember me. Okay, now here we go with Sam's Kamehameha punch on Tori. What'd you think?
I did Sam's good moves, and there were definitely callbacks to Daniel and all of Sam's moves. The fight was really good, even though I liked the boys a little bit more overall. I really felt the connection between Sam and Daniel in Karate Kid 3. There was a lot of that, and it was it's obviously
and the fear of
really
her,
good.
the absolute fear of the opponent you're standing across the mat from.
Yeah, and speaking of which, Tori was kind of like Barnes because she's hopping up and down.
Yep,
she's got the energy going. So like she's bouncing, and Sam's doing, the little bit of the kata, the ready moves, and everything. So it definitely had the callbacks in the feel to that fight.
I love Sam's fighting position that she assumes at the top of this sequence, where she has her hands kind of in a fan position, and then she puts her right foot on her left thigh, and then she kicks out with that and then brings the left one up. There's just something so elegant and graceful, and what it reminded me of was a geisha, a dancer. Mainly just because the way she was holding her hands and then her having her foot be up and the kicking out. Mary has gotten so graceful. Yeah, she still has a bit of, she's got some power in the scenes where it is Mary. But the grace that she has on the mat reminds me of Daniel at her age. Sam moves like a dancer, just like her father did. Of course, because Ralph was a dancer, right? So that's why he moved like one. And I think Mary does a really, really good job moving like that now. All right, so moving on to the next one. We are almost done, I promise. We are almost done with the screenshots. Apparently got a few too many here. So,
yeah, you thought we would do this in 30 minutes.
Right. Yeah, what the hell was I thinking? All right, here we go. I'm tired of blaming you, Dad. What does that mean?
Wow, that's just it's a climactic moment. And it's what we would, it's certainly something that's needed to happen. And it's kind of, what brought him there? Was it ultimately Kenny? Was it losing the tournament? I'm not even sure, but what he was looking to find in Cobra Kai, he didn't get. So, he came back with Johnny. I don't know where this goes next season. People have asked me, and while we have some guesses, but it's certainly a really good moment here between them.
Between father and son. I think that, if you watch his facial expressions, first of all, he got booed for the way he beat Kenny. And I think he was very pissed off at himself for the way he beat Kenny.
Right.
He was playing with him. He was toying with him. Get your points and knock it off, Robbie. He was acting. Terry straight up said, that you're not going to get disqualified. He's not ending on a technicality. Believe me. Well, yeah, he's not because you paid him not to. But at the same time, he's playing with Kenny like a cat and mouse. And I think he was embarrassed by that because that's not him.
Right.
That's not who he is.
And he likes Kenny.
He loves Kenny. I really do think that he has assumed Sean's role and Sean's place in Kenny's life. And he's just realized that he's taken this 13-year-old kid in completely the wrong direction.
Right.
But he also wants his dad. And he was sitting there and he was listening to Terry and he's listening to Kreese. And every time that someone would come talk to them for advice, they would focus the camera on Robbie just for a few seconds. And every time, he'd get just a little bit more thoughtful and a little bit more upset on his face. To the point where, when Terry basically tells Tori, go out there and kick the shit out of her, hit her in the eye, punch the other one, all of that, whatever. Robbie couldn't actually stomach the idea of being associated with that. So he had to pull himself back from it. One way or another. All right. And
and Tori didn't either. Tori didn't go for the other eye. So,
right. And she apologized for the first one. It was an accident. I didn't mean it.
Right. And even then after, when she kicks Sam for the first time, she asked her, "Are you all right?"
Yes.
She went to her and my funny reaction is, my funny take is, really out of everything, that was like the least hurtful thing you've done to Sam.
Right?
That wasn't like
in your entire relationship, that is the
the
least
one you
pain
ask,
you've
are
ever
you all right?
caused.
But definitely, yeah, it was definitely in a different.
Well,
different
again,
direction for Tori.
back to the family photo where Miguel's brother Robbie is his best man, and Sam's friend Tori is her maid of honor. And I really do think that's where we're headed, because they want to show the gray area, right? Everyone can be redeemed except those two psychotic assholes at Cobra Kai. So we're going to skip over Kreese getting arrested. We all know he did. Does he belong in jail for attempted murder and aggravated battery? Yes, absolutely. 2 counts of it. But not against Raymond.
Against Raymond, yep.
He's like, Johnny and Daniel did not press charges against him for trying to kill them, even though Johnny had fingerprint bruises on his throat and Daniel damn near got stabbed in the face. They did not press charges against him for attempted murder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Kreese in jail for something he didn't do. I want him in jail for the shit he did do.
I know, it's kind of it's an awkward moment, isn't it?
It is.
It
is. I will say quite openly, everyone watching, everyone listening knows me. In my mind, Kreese is not redeemable in any way, shape, or form, nor is Terry. They are psychotic, child-abusing psychopaths, and in Kreese's case, he's a murderer. I don't see redemption for either of them. I don't think it's possible. The best they can do is try to make amends for what they've done, but I don't think they can be redeemed by it or redeemed for it. Also skipping Carmen talking to Johnny about Miguel. Why the hell Greyhound let a 17-year-old boy get on a bus and go to a foreign country without a parent is completely beyond me. I'm pretty sure that they have protocols in place to not sell tickets to foreign countries to 17-year-old boys without their mother.
Yeah.
But then again, this is the universe where, Century 21 will lease a commercial property to a 16-year-old boy who actually put someone else's name on the lease, which means he forged Mr. Miyagi's signature.
Well,
Right. Same universe. So we're just going to assume that
sometimes
Greyhound
when
just lets
they're
everybody
desperate
get
to
on the
make a
bus.
deal,
Right.
He had the cash, so he put it up, and so they'll make the deal.
Right. There we go. It's the same as them letting Daniel on an airplane to Okinawa without his mother's permission. It's like transportation companies in the U.S. are just perfectly fine with children using their transportation to go to foreign countries and things like that. So we are going to this one. Who did you think Daniel was talking to when he started?
I heard Peter screaming on this one.
Right. Yeah, when it was just Daniel talking to Mr. Miyagi's grave, or kneeling at Mr. Miyagi's grave and talking. Did you think he was apologizing to Mr. Miyagi for what he was about to do, or did you think he was talking to someone else?
Early, yes. When the scene first began, I did think it was just Daniel talking to Miyagi. Then it cuts when he's like up or standing up and it swings around. Then I'm like, oh no, someone's there.
Right.
Someone's there. But yes, when the scene began, I thought it was just Daniel and Mr. Miyagi.
What do you think about, because of Japanese tradition and like the elder son is always the one in front and is chosen in this shot. They are not even. Chosen is standing slightly behind Daniel. Is that a deference to him as being the direct line from Miyagi, which Chosen himself is not?
I'm unaware of that tradition. Definitely, you could take it that way. Part of me just looks at it and says, for the camera angle to work, he can't be blocking Ralph.
Right.
So he's got, in order for the shot to work, he's got to be behind him.
Because as is the case
to work.
with Yuji and every other actor on the show, and the actor who plays his wife, they're all taller than Ralph.
Right, yeah.
Which is why Courtney and Amanda wears flats. Because she's already 2 inches taller than him.
So, but it's a nice take. If you think of Daniel as the heir of Miyagi, but I do feel like going into season 5, they will be the Miyagi-Do together. Right. The way you're going to have on the Cobra Kai side, you're going to have them the Miyagi-Do. So I think they will be running Miyagi-Do together.
I'm going to throw a quick good night to Nate. He needs to head out. Thanks for stopping by, Nate. Appreciate it. Make sure you give us thumbs up on your way out. I am, obviously, because I am a Daniel fan, duh, and I am a Cobra Kai or Karate Kid Part 2 fan. At this point, I say that the whitest thing Daniel ever said was that he and Chosen are karate cousins. That just sounds so freaking white, right? If he had said we are brothers, it would not have bothered me. And the way they are standing right there at Mr. Miyagi's grave, both paying respects to him, Daniel bowing to his sensei, Chosen bowing to the descendant of the karate line that he has become a part of. To me, in this scene, they are brothers, and they have just realized it. Because they are brothers in the tradition, right? They are the heirs to the Miyagi lineage, both of them. And neither of them is actually a Miyagi, which is interesting. But Peter, I'm sure, screamed. I screamed. Well, no, Peter didn't scream. And you know why? Because Peter read the embargo notes that said, when you write your reviews, please don't mention blah, 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 or Yuji Okamoto.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I heard someone say that they were spoiled by those too, but yeah, you really need to read those after you watch the season.
Right? And I'm like, why did you read those? It says, don't include these spoilers. That's your spoiler warning, dude.
Yeah. That's your spoiler warning.
And he read them all, and because I was like, oh my God, it's her. Oh my God, it's Aisha. And he's like, yeah, I knew. And I actually got to thinking about it, and I told Peter the other day, I knew Chosen was coming back because of someone that works on the show that I'm friends with that told me. I don't think he was supposed to tell me, which is why I'm not going to say who he is. I'm just going to say that he is a friend of mine. And he told me that Chosen was coming back for season 4 because he knew. And I forgot that I knew it.
You forgot.
Yeah, I forgot that I knew it because he told me in, February or March. And, I've slept and smoked pot since then. So I completely forgot. But I'm glad he was there. So. Yes. All right.
I have big ideas of what's coming next. So we'll see. But
right. That is the end of the screen cap portion. It is now 12:10. Are you still up for opening it up to questions from our 32 viewers?
Does anyone have a question? We'll try to just keep this short.
There we go.
I do have 24 hours of live streams, me mostly taking questions on my own channel. My God. So and even I've done 3 streams now since watching season 4. So I've happily been out there. But if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot. We'll give it like 5 minutes. We'll see what people ask.
Oh, Rashid is like, it's only 6:10 a.m. here. Well, Rashid, you are 6 hours ahead of us. And no, poof, and I'm gone. I'm not going to get him fired because there's dozens and dozens and dozens of men that work on the show that know that Yuji was there. And I'm not saying which one it was. And I'm friends with a whole bunch of people, so.
Yeah, it's, and sometimes people do say things on accident.
Right, and, we were just talking. It's not like he meant to spoil anything. We were just talking, and it came up. All right, Rashid, Tarkies, do you think Tori will help Kreese in season 5?
No. The way I'm looking at it right now, and Tori is very loyal to Kreese, but I think, and obviously has reasons to be skeptical of Silver, but I do think Silver may buy Tori's loyalty, and I actually mean that literally. Because I think Tori may have a rough time if her mom passes. She needs a job. So I think Silver is going to get Tori's loyalty, even if it's just straight up with money.
But follow-up question: do you think that maybe is she going to work for him, is he just going to buy her everything she needs, and up to and including getting custody of her brother?
Yeah. I think he'll put her on staff. So I think Tori's going to be on staff, and as a sensei working for him. It's good for her because it's a stable job. That's not shitty. You may not like Cobra Kai, but it's probably still better than some of the other stuff she was doing.
Right.
Yeah, and definitely, I actually can see Tori lending her lawyers to get custody of her brother. Yeah. If it comes to that, and maybe it would. So I can,
I agree.
But I think she will confront Silver. I think she's going to confront Silver about the ref in one way or another. So.
All right. So next question, MegaCloud47, Carrie from Twitter. How do you think Miguel and Johnny's relationship will develop? Do you think it'll get stronger, or is it over as we know it?
It's not over. Miguel's looking now for his father, so this is going to be interesting. And the thing is, we don't really know anything about Miguel's father. So it's going to be a little bit how he bonds with his father. If I just had to make a random guess how I would see a storyline playing out, couple episodes, he's looking for him, he meets him, initial shock or something, then they get along really well. I can imagine his father is no longer into the shady illegal stuff, but then maybe by end season something bad and he's actually still in it a little bit or something, and Johnny helps him or something, some reconnection between Johnny and Miguel. I would like Miguel to have a good relationship with his father, and I would hate for it to end badly. But we'll see. Just that's just sort of my guess at a season-long story arc for this. So
okay. Frankie Walls, can we all agree that Terry Silver's Karate Kid 3 theme song was used brilliantly this season?
Yes, they didn't overdo it. And they used it right at the right times and everything. I would definitely agree.
Right, and it was the Terry what's it called? Terry Sneaks In, or something like that. It was the specifically the song that was playing when he was creeping up on Daniel in a very creepy kind of way. PJ Bowler, Daniel can't train. Will he ignore the agreement?
He made that clear at the end of season 4 there. So.
Yeah, he's not going to honor a bet with, people with no honor, which I think is one of the ways that, or one of the reasons that Chosen agrees, right? Because Chosen is all about honor, always has been. And now that he knows what it actually is, I think he's going to be more about it. And here are these dishonorable men, or is this dishonorable man? That's making a mockery of karate. And I think Chosen is 100% on board with taking him on. Will Kreese be the one, Joseph Logan, will Kreese be the one to bring Cobra Kai down along with the storylines of only the Who? Oh, along the storylines of only who created it can kill it.
It's an interesting take. It wouldn't be in season 5. I don't know what's going to happen with Kreese. I have some ideas. A little of it might have come from a spoiler that leaked. That not they thought was season 4, but is now very seriously looking like it was a season 5 leak. But not necessarily not in season 5 anyway. So if we're just looking to season 5, it's not Kreese. So
okay, back up to Cobra Disney Jedi. I apologize, I skipped you, and it's a good question. Will Tori tell anyone about Terry's bribery?
Well, I do think she's going to confront Terry first, maybe even in the first episode, and that's where Terry starts sinking his claws or fangs, whatever.
Fangs, claws.
Snakes don't have claws.
Yeah, no, snakes don't have claws.
In her and gets her on board. I don't think she's going to be telling many people, anyone. Like, eventually she may tell Sam. We'll see what happens. Would she confess to Sam about that? I don't know, but
do you not think,
for the most part, I don't think she's going to go around. I don't think she's going to go around telling people.
The look
the
on
only
her
one she
face,
may bring it up to is Terry Silver himself.
The look on her face at the end. Do you not think that was her realizing that her trophy is meaningless? She wanted to prove to herself that she was best at something, and now she knows that she's not.
Yeah, someone described it as her face falling off or something.
Her face fell. It didn't fall off, but it fell.
Yeah. But, yeah.
She was so excited heading back to the locker room, and then suddenly she finds out that, that trophy, she didn't actually earn it. Sam scored that 3rd point.
It's tainted anyway.
Yeah.
It's a certain point where you could say, well, it wasn't a match point, because Tori was up 2-1 on the questionable call, but the whole thing is tainted, is how I describe it. You can never totally believe it was true or fair,
Right.
Refs genuinely make bad calls sometimes, and sometimes it influences a match. And so, how do you feel about that? But this one, yeah, she knows he was paid a little. He was paid off. So the whole thing is tainted for her. So
right. Okay, from J Cat, do you think Carmen could accept Robbie?
If Miguel can.
There you go. Good answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. I think that Carmen has no choice but to accept Robbie in a certain way. She's his stepmother.
Right.
So if she loves Johnny, Shannon, and she does.
But Robbie, yeah, I think they can get there.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, she loves Johnny, and Robbie is an extension of Johnny. I think that's going to be a huge part of it, but I think you're right. I think a lot of her acceptance of Robbie hinges on Miguel accepting him. Ben Metello, will Kreese get out of jail immediately?
I don't think so.
Rashid Tarki again. Stingray will return, but will Terry actually let him be Cobra Kai? Or will he make Stingray one of his henchmen like he had in Karate Kid 3?
Why not both?
Right?
Yeah, that's sort of the way I see it.
I actually like that idea because Jonathan Avildsen hasn't acted in 20 years. So the odds of Snake coming back are ridiculously small. So I would love, believe it or not, I would actually enjoy seeing Dennis and Raymond running around being, Terry's enforcers like they were in 85. I think that'd be funny. Rena Gillum asks, what if Johnny finds his dad on accident?
I don't know. I don't think Johnny's father is going to come up. They've kind of mentioned him in roundabout ways. In season 3, when Sid brought him up,
Right.
you know,
That he was a
which
loser who
almost
took
seemed to be
off
out
and
of there,
abandoned
out of the
them,
blue.
and yeah.
And then, of course, here again. But like I feel like I don't necessarily think it's building to some reveal or something. It's just showing Johnny in this life, who grew up, whose dad left him, and then he doesn't want to be like that for Robbie. He's trying to fix it with Robbie. So
Right. Rashid, again, the scroll Anthony found, do you think that will come into play in season 5?
I don't know. It looked like they were finally learning the Hadouken, which I don't know if you get that reference.
I don't. Sounds like a DBZ
the
thing.
The Hadouken is the fireball from
DBZ.
Street Fighter.
Okay.
And then there was a joke on Robot Chicken a long time ago, which was like this little sketch show with things.
Where Johnny set Daniel on fire.
Kid.
Yep.
And when are we going to learn the Hadouken? And so that was what I thought when I saw that.
Right.
And they're finally learning the Hadouken.
Tommy keeps popping up after they get him a body bag. He's like, no, really a body bag. Body bags on sale, 99 cents each. Yeah, I've seen that sketch. That one cracks me up. I think that scroll that he found, I think, honestly, has already come into play. I think that was the defensive move that he used against Kreese at the end of season 3. Or offensive. Yeah. Offensive. Yeah. I mean, he was using it to defend himself against someone who was trying to stab him in the face.
Yeah.
Who do you want to see, Sarah Lawson? Who do you want to see Chosen spar with the most? And we'll take just a couple more questions before we wrap it up here.
Spar or fight?
The question that Sarah asked specifically said spar.
Certainly Daniel, and I think he'll spar with his students. I tend to think what's happening is Johnny is going to shut Eagle Fang, and the Eagle Fangs are going to migrate over to Miyagi-Do, or maybe they'll take a more closer liking to Chosen in his style than Daniel. So we'll see. But is sparring any of them and all of them.
Right. Interchangeably, because they're all going to be senseis. Yeah. Because it's Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang that were, lost the bet. If they honestly stay Miyagi Fang, they're okay. Because, that's not the same dojos. Rena Gillum again. Will Sid die on the show?
I don't necessarily think so. They did have the in memoriam to him. Mm-hmm. And they've kind of set themselves up almost from the beginning that, Sid was writing Johnny out of his will. Mm-hmm. He didn't really want anything to do with him. So, if they just don't mention Sid again, it's fine either way. And in fact that they had the in memoriam there in that first episode makes me more think, they just won't even bring him up. He's out of Johnny's life, and so that's that.
I am the exact opposite, honestly. I think that they will kill Sid. I think that, not kill Sid, but I do believe that Sid will die in canon. Mm-hmm. Because to me, leaving Sid out there in the universe alive when Ed is gone just seems very cheap. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I guess, yeah, they certainly could.
But at the same time, Mr. Miyagi died 6 years after Pat Morita did.
Right.
So, maybe they'll play with his passing date a little bit, keep him alive a little bit longer. And not necessarily in season 5 because he passed in the middle of filming season 5. But I think that possibly season 6 or 7, if we go on that long,
Well,
that they will get they will write Sid's death into the script somewhere.
I think a way to do that then is actually if Johnny is going after Miguel to Mexico, Sid dies while he's away.
Right.
And then at some point, whenever he gets back, I don't know when, you could have a line like he learns after he's back. That would be kind of a way to do it, and then it's almost played into the storyline of why, he didn't even go spit on the grave or whatever. I don't know, but so you can just sort of have it like that.
Right. And Rena Gillum there at the bottom of the chat brings up a very good point. The money can go to Robbie. That's still Laura's grandson. So if he skips Johnny, then logically it would go to Robbie.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he is Laura's grandson.
But if Sid, I don't think Sid ever had any connection with Robbie either. So he may just
other than just
give
asking
all his money to whatever weird foundation or whatever he wanted, Because I feel like Sid was the type of person who wanted to screw Johnny over, and he certainly didn't care for Robbie.
Right. And, yeah. All he did, he used Robbie just to throw him in Johnny's face.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking for one last question here. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Sarah Lawson will be the final question because this is good. Who in the Miyagi-verse is next to return, do you think?
Well, we got Chosen, and I think we got strong hints of Mike Barnes. When Terry yells, "I'll find some people to be senseis," or whatever the line is.
Right. I've got a guy or two kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think we have strong hints of Mike Barnes. Would still love to just see Freddy Fernandez show up at some point. Some of the more minor characters. And then people keep asking about Julie Pierce. I don't think she's going to be season 5. Not yet, anyway. Maybe, but I think she comes in when Miyagi-Do goes global.
Yes, because we have to. As far as we know, Julie still lives in Boston. Mm-hmm. She and Daniel do know each other. There are strong hints in canon in the text of the show that they trained together at one point. Because Daniel says it's been a long time since the dojo has had two students. Yeah, two students.
I put that in a video and I got hundreds of comments. Dude, you're wrong. Oh my God, don't even.
Well, it can only be two situations.
Yeah,
it's either Daniel and Julie or it's Mr. Miyagi and Sato.
But
I don't think Julie makes more sense because why would Daniel, mention Mr. Miyagi and Sato?
Right.
I think that Julie. God, how much money would they have to get her on there? She's got 2 fucking Oscars, man.
Netflix is up. They up the budget every season. So
yeah, I know, and they got her on that show, basically the female version of Major Tom last year.
They'll maybe just as whatever she demands, but you know what I mean. Yeah, that's what it is, and if they have enough money for 2 episodes, they'll write her in 2. If it can work for 8 or 10 episodes for a whole season, do that.
What kind of a score would it be for them to get Hilary Swank and, a 2-time Oscar winner shows up to do a cameo on this little Netflix show?
But it's not a little Netflix show.
No, it's not.
It's like what Zach Robinson said to me. You got the Netflix effect. So I do think it helps, that, and if the show just keeps getting bigger, I would hope she's got a soft spot for Julie Pierce in her heart. It was about one of her first roles, right? So, I hope she would want to do it. I don't think that'll be ultimately a squabble over money.
Right. And if it's something that
Netflix
she
has got the
feels
wallet,
connected to, because the Miyagi-verse launched her career, even as horribly written and directed as that movie was, that's where Hilary Swank came from. Right? Because she did the Karate Kid part, or the next Karate Kid, and then I do believe her next project was Boys Don't Cry. And that's her Oscar for playing Brandon Tina. That was, without the next Karate Kid, there is no Hilary Swank.
Right.
Even as bad as that movie was.
So, but I still think season 6. So,
yeah.
So for 5, I think maybe Mike Barnes and the Terry Silver crew.
I think Mike and Dennis. Maybe it's wishful thinking, because William Christopher Ford, Sensei Ford, is a friend of mine, and I adore him. And I want him back on the show. He's got a Netflix channel, or a YouTube channel rather, and he's got a video on there called Shoji Screens Don't Hit Back. And he does that in character as Dennis, and it's amazing. So yeah, I would very much like to see Dennis back. I don't think Snake is an option, but like was mentioned earlier, I think that Raymond could fill in for Snake pretty easily. So, all right, everyone, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. This was meant to be an hour and a half long live stream. It became 3. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us. Thank you, Watch Party, for sticking with me and my slightly inebriated self and my really screwed up voice and our fucked up audio.
Audio.
Right. I know that everyone in this chat right now knows who you are, but on the off chance that someone watches who doesn't, Watch Party, where can you be found?
I have a YouTube channel called Watch Party. You can find it. You can search it. It'll come up. I'm on Twitter, WatchParty1, Instagram, WatchParty1. So just come on in. Give me a follow. Check out the channels. We do Cobra Kai theories, Cobra Kai analysis. I don't know what's coming next, but I got to start posting some videos. I've been doing some live streams. By all means, come in. You can check out the past live streams from Friday. I've had 3 already. If you just want to dive into awesome Cobra Kai talk, season 4. So,
all right. And I am Brihana Davidson. I am the co-host of the Cobra Kai Kompanion podcast. I am Brihana25 on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, archive of our own, fanfiction.net. And recently I've been throwing in DeviantArt and LiveJournal and Dreamwidth and all of those, all fandom sites. And now you can you go back to the old force.net forums, and I'm in there too. But you can look me up, follow me if you don't already. Send me a DM, send me a message on Twitter. I answer just about everyone. The only ones I don't answer are the ones I don't see. And the podcast itself is Cobra Kai Kompanion with a K, on Apple Podcast, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Alexa will pick him up, just about anywhere you want it to be. Also a YouTube channel. We will have the Cobra Kai After Dark every Saturday night. We will live stream. We will have a different interviewee every week. Moving forward for the foreseeable future, this is a place for fans to hang out, to talk and learn about other fans. So, the podcast is Cobra Kai Pod on Twitter, Cobra Kai Kompanion on Instagram, Cobra Kai Kompanion also on YouTube and Facebook. We have a Facebook group. Type www-cobra into your search bar and you will find us. So, that is all for tonight. Watch Party, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I really, really enjoyed this. I hope that everyone enjoyed the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you for the interview. I made way too many screen caps. So that's all. Thank you very much, everyone. And you all have a wonderful night.